It's a little spicy. What's up, Charles?
What's happening?
Long
Binge?
time no see.
I've seen you plenty this weekend.
I saw you a lot on Saturday. Not really. I only saw you at night.
Yeah, you're right. Just a couple hours, maybe.
But as I usually see you like once every 2 weeks.
Something like that.
I saw you last week for pizza.
Yeah.
All right. So
Forgot
I have a
about that.
feeling that we're going to go down personal rabbit holes and like friend rabbit holes
Yeah.
where like you and I get what we're talking about, but listeners and viewers don't.
They have no idea.
So let's at least set up
All right,
the
set me
volley
up.
for them.
Set me up. What do you got? What'd you prepare?
All right. So who are you and
Who
what
am
do
I?
you do? And then I'll ask a couple more questions after that.
Who am I? My name is Charles Henry Lunsford. I'm an artist. I'm a designer. I'm an educator. I'm your friend. And I just try to make the world a little bit better, I guess.
Okay. That's a good answer.
Yeah. Who are you?
Nobody. I want to set up an obvious thing, but I think it's a very important thing because it's personally very inspiring. And you can go as far as you want into it. That's up to you. But I know most of it, so I could dig as far as I need to.
Sure.
What I'm getting at is you're one of the very few people in America, probably on planet Earth, to be honest, that because of life and unfortunate events, which you can talk about if you'd like to, you find yourself having to drop out of high school.
This is true.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was there for that whole process. We were kids, but I was there. And then that's in 2011. But I think you dropped out in the fall of 2010, if I remember correctly.
Something.
Because I remember being I wasn't mad. I was very worried. I was like, so it stuck with me.
Sure.
But it was a 2010, 2011 school year at Argo High School, where you dropped out because of a lot of things. We can get into that. But then, so that's 12 years later, you end up getting a double bachelor's degree in Bachelor's of Fine Arts and a Bachelor's of Art Education to teach K through 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then as of the last couple weeks, you got a full-time job teaching in
Right.
your field at a Chicago public school,
Right.
in a K through 8th grade school,
Yes.
in a K through 8th grade school, doing what you went to school for. And then also you do a lot of the fine arts things you went to school for. You do a lot of that on your own, freelance, small business, things like that.
Right.
So both things you went to school for, you're doing both, and living doing both.
Mm-hmm.
After 12 years after you dropped out of high school.
Yeah. That's the timeline, I guess.
With 2 bachelor's degrees. And you just graduated in December
Right.
of 2022.
Right.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So before you graduated and got a job, I remember we looked up a stat, a friend and I, that less than 10% of people who graduate or drop out of high school get a bachelor's degree.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Mm.
And then probably even less get a double bachelor's degree, and then probably even less get a job in the field and went to school for. So
10%?
yeah, you're probably in like a 3 to 5% range of people. And if you get a master's, which I know you plan on doing, you're probably in like a under 1% range.
It's probably a good club, though, whoever they are.
Yeah, that'd be a cool club to start. High school dropout turned educator turned graduate degree. And that's the irony of it is now you're teaching something that you weren't able to like obtain properly
Right.
in the right trajectory.
Sure.
You obtained it properly in your own way.
Yeah.
So what has this been like the last, I guess we can go back to, it probably all started around freshman year of high school.
I mean, to do that immediately is like to just
Do you need more bourbon?
jump into interpersonal childhood things.
Well,
yeah, I mean, that's what it would take to tell the story of it all. But I mean,
Well, let me rephrase
you
this.
know,
Do you feel like you're going to be a more unique educator because of the really topsy-turvy trajectory you've had? It's like super abnormal.
I've already observed that I most certainly am.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't even had what you had, and I've had a pretty strange trajectory. So I even feel very connected to my students.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because I had such a strange college situation of like doing bad, doing good, dropping out, going back, going to different school. Like just, it was chaotic. So when I have students that are feeling that way, I'm like, I get it. Like, I get it when you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm gonna take a semester off. Like, I did all of it. And not only did I do all of it, I was around people who did it too. You, Jake, Eddie. Like, very few of our close friends did graduate at 18 and graduate college at 22, like 4 years.
Right.
Not many. I don't even know who.
That I know anyone. Do I know anyone like that? Probably.
I don't know what that says about us if we weren't helpful towards each other. I think what it says is we were all very much like misfits and outcasts and didn't know what we wanted to do.
Well, the whole trajectory is arbitrary as hell, and
It is.
You know, like to ask that of a young person's a tall order, and so some people meander a while. The education thing, it's like I don't know. It has often felt like a waste in ways.
College?
Time spent. Not the whole thing as a package deal at the end,
Yeah.
but moments and hours and semesters where it's just like, this is just added stress for something that I will not immediately feel a benefit from.
But you are.
But maybe
in like 1 month from now.
But I mean, yeah, but that's the sentiment of a young person, often.
Yeah. It also probably feels that way because I felt some things like that, but I think you felt it at a higher level than most could because there was no help or safety net.
Oh yeah, well I mean,
So you're like, I could be making money this way instead of spending money that way. It's like double down effect of going to college. You have time you're not making money and you're spending money while you're not making money.
yeah,
Which is what deters a lot of people who don't realize the
Yes.
importance of it.
it's a tremendous sacrifice.
It's huge.
You know what? It's a tremendous sacrifice.
Especially if you
It's very
can't do it in
stressful.
4 years. Because now that you're 30, you look back like to be done at 22, that's a breeze. You're like
Oh my God, to
8
have
years
been,
of work you could have had under your belt.
Yeah, but I would have still just been 22 at the same time. So while one thing is good, the others you can't. To race time
I know.
it's undoable.
Do you feel like
The wisdom of time is like worth it. I feel.
yeah? Do you feel like you're like more wise being starting at like a beginning, but as an older teacher?
Well, I can just see the next like 15 years of these students' lives often. You know what I mean? Like, at least they're pretty recent in my mind. So when I see them struggling or just contemplating something that I did at a similar age, it just makes it easy to be like, oh, I remember that, what that's like. And then you tell them your experience, and like, that's kind of what I'm thinking or how I feel. And it's an easy way to connect because it's sincere. And then they just want to learn things from you after that. So it's great.
Do you though find that because you had to go so long and struggle so hard and have this like arduous journey that you have very little sympathy and patience for people's little complaints about stuff? Or can you just like you could see really quickly through the crap,
when it's superficial, it's annoying. So yeah,
which is a very American thing. A lot of people complain about stuff.
Yeah, the students I'm working with now, though, they're in the lowest rung of the economic
They're
ladder.
from a bad situation.
Inner city.
Yeah.
50% of the students don't speak any English,
Oh wow. Spanish?
Spanish. So I'm getting really good at my Spanish.
That's good.
That's
Do you
cool.
think that will the school district pay for like Spanish classes for you?
Perhaps I can probably swing it as like part of my PD or something.
That's actually maybe that's good that you're working with them because if you got stuck working in some where 99% of the kids graduate, they all come from like means, you might get a little annoying.
They still need help. They still need help too.
That's wise.
It's a different. You can challenge them in different ways.
Yeah.
And often it's easy to challenge them in a lot of ways. So,
Well, we
it
don't
all-
have
it's
much
all helpful.
adversity in life. It's not hard to be challenged.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So if we can go back to when you were in high school,
Yeah,
which I remember very well.
high school. High school was kind of a wash right from the start. By the time I was 15, I was already on a.
Well, let me tell stories, set up the listeners.
Yeah.
We went to the same high school. Charlie was a freshman. He's 14 years old, freshman year, fall semester. I'm 17, about to turn 18. I have a pass because I'm a senior aide for a teacher. So, I'm pretty much done. I could have graduated early. I'm like, it's a wash. I'm pretty much done with high school. So I had a pass to like walk around the hallways and like do errands for the teacher, get fax things, paper copies, scan stuff, put Scantrons in machines. I don't know if they do that anymore.
Oh wow.
All that stuff. So I would roam the hallways properly, freely, legally, whatever you call it. I can't get in trouble, right? But I would see other seniors that I knew, but then I would see you who didn't have a pass, who wasn't a senior, in fact, the opposite, a freshman, and you had like this bleach blonde, long hair,
Yeah.
tight pants, like it was always some type of band T-shirt,
Sure.
some type of band T-shirt, and I couldn't tell your shoes, maybe Vans or something, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I always saw you walking around but you walked around with confidence as if you were like a teacher, like you were. It was okay that you were doing, like you were clearly skipping classes.
I felt that way too.
I didn't know who you were. That was my first time seeing you, and I was like, "Who is this kid?" Like, he looks like a person that would hang out with like my friend Eddie, who we both knew.
Yeah.
Still Eddie, like that crew, but I just didn't know. Like, you could just
Right.
tell when someone's from Justice. I knew you were. For those listening,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. If you're from Old Justice, Hickory Hills, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, stereotypes work sometimes. So yeah, and then I saw you going on and off that way, but then one day a friend of ours, Larry, brought you over to my house and was like, "Oh, this is Charlie," and I was like, "Okay," and we're hanging out, and the first thing I remember about you is you like had this confidence and like it wasn't really cockiness. It was just being when you're 15, confidence can come off as being cocky,
Sure.
but almost like you didn't care about anything. And and then I found out like you didn't really have a place to stay that night, so you slept at my house, and I just met you. First time I met you at my house, and you stayed on that couch. I didn't know you.
I feel like I met you in the summer.
The summer before that,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have met you in 2007 summer because I didn't hang out with like any of Eddie's friends at that time.
Sure.
I was dating somebody and like going out with friends. I had a car and a job.
Yeah, okay. But
So-
never mind. Whatever.
It
Tell
was
your story.
January. It was like right before you turned 15, a couple days before.
Okay. So yeah, sure.
And you slept at my house in my mom's chair with oven mitts on because you were cold.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then at that time you were clearly like goofing off in high school.
Yeah.
Because why were you roaming around the hallways if you were a freshman and not in class?
I just didn't feel like I had any business being in there.
I'm getting at is this led to like not doing well to where you eventually had to drop out?
Yeah, I dropped out. I dropped out basically from the start of freshman year. I was sort of already fending for myself in the world. So school was not, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like was low on the list of things I was interested in doing. So
What felt like what was necessary as a teenager?
what felt necessary as a teenager?
You started working young too, like right at 16, right? You started
Yeah,
working.
I did.
Was it at Fasano's or Panera, or is that IHOP?
I washed dishes. Oh, the IHOP. Yeah. I had a brief stint at IHOP. Yeah, I was 16 when I started working. And immediately, my family life was broken at best. And so I was estranged from my family already at 14 or 15 years old. And I was kind of just living in the streets of Justice in Hickory Hills and
Bridgeview, yeah.
Bridgeview. There was stints where I lived with aunts and my dad, again, my dad for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, those first few years there, I was just kind of
You were at
bounced.
your aunt's by Larry's,
Yeah,
and then you did. I think you just slept at a lot of different houses too.
I did.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then eventually moved into Jake's.
Eventually, yeah, when I was maybe 17,
Mm-hmm.
I think I moved in with Jake and his sisters and
That was a good time.
Father Jim. Yeah, that was a great time. Those were phenomenal years of my life. Like, man, I had no rules. I was 17, and I got in lots of trouble and did some. I didn't do any bad things, nothing illegal, but
I mean, I wouldn't say that. Nothing bad illegal.
Nothing
There's
bad
tiers of
illegal.
illegal that are bad.
No, those were just great years
Goofy
because
stuff.
I was, it was a great way. It was to just immediately, you get to skip childhood. I was immediately an adult at like 17, basically. And when you're young and you're naive and you're figuring things out, you get to be brash. And it was a great way to be brash in like its most wildest fashion. So,
But there was something that happened at like 16, 17. I think because of being around more like older guys that were like more straight and narrow, that you like changed that trajectory and you started actually doing like going to school.
Well, the thing is,
I remember you started doing better in classes.
I never wanted to drop out.
No,
Like,
I remember you started
never.
trying really hard, but then it was like a little too late. I remember that.
It's when I had the bandwidth to try hard, I did. And there was
Yeah.
some years and semesters in high school where I was able to, because I had a more permanent sort of situation. And those were some of my happier semesters, honestly, and times of my life, months
Yeah.
of my life. So,
So
but a lot of the
thing that bummed
time,
me out, Charlie.
what's
Sorry
this?
to cut you off.
No,
Was how you went to summer school every summer.
Yeah. Hey,
That bummed me out.
I applied to teach summer school
You want to teach the same kids that you were.
at Argo. They had a position. I applied for it. Digital
Dang.
photo.
The irony.
The
of
irony.
dropping out at Argo High School, then going back to teach the very summer school classes that
Right.
you always took.
I never took art in class. I always had to take math and science and
Well, I meant you just summer school in general.
yeah,
That's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
It was a good discipline because it helped me through college to take summer courses. So
You should reach out to the art department and see if you could guest speak.
I don't have any interest in that. I'm doing a workshop this Saturday.
I'm just saying you could inspire some students that like you literally did the full circle thing.
Yeah, I don't have a good.
You're not the only
I don't have a
person
good
that's gonna drop
speech
out of high
prepared
school,
for
you know?
you. Yeah,
Just wing
certainly.
it. I don't write speeches. You
No, I would want to be thoughtful with my words. I'm often eloquent on cue, but like I would want to be more thoughtful. And
Yeah.
if I'm going to give an hour lecture,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't take a lot to prepare for. But I wouldn't do it immediately. Give me 10 years
10
of
years.
like doing it.
Yeah.
Then I would do it.
Got it.
But I am teaching a workshop this weekend. When's this going to come out? I'll plug it.
This will probably come out next week.
All right, never mind then.
So the workshop's at Green Hills
Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, I'll be out of town. That's cool though.
Yeah.
With Kristen and
I mean, there's 25 people.
dang, what are you teaching?
It's a contemporary art survey.
Nice.
So we're a little bit of history, a little bit of practice. It'll be a 3-hour workshop. It's gonna
That's
be great.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know like the demographics of like
Adults, 18 and up.
adults? Well, that's cool. That's a start.
Something. Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Cool. I guess podcast is over. Huh?
Wrap it up.
Full circle.
Just do a plug. Yeah. Wrap. I mean, there's I don't know, the stories, the minutia of all the bullshit of of how to survive a thing like that and be somewhat sane at the other end is I don't know, like perseverance. Like, but you don't get to just know that. You have
Yeah.
to
What are some key tenets to like? I mean, that's brutal. Like, I don't know many people.
I kind of look at it in waves.
I don't know anybody actually. I can't even say many people. I know significantly more people than the average bear. Yet you're the only person I know that had to do what you had to do and did it and took that duration because of the life.
Yeah.
The life you had to live. But you did it. Like you did it exactly how you're supposed to do it. It just took triple the time, literally.
Yeah, probably.
No, that's,
I mean, I think, yeah. I don't know. Family drama, family things are a burden, and they're a miserable thing to be endowed with immediately.
right. I mean, you
So-
could see how if like people who grew up without even just one parent missing, or parents that are present but they're not good parents, they don't work. Maybe they work but they are drug addicts, drink, abusive. You can see how like you just lose a leg.
Oh, you lose a leg tremendously.
You lose many legs.
Yeah, honestly, I got lucky 100%. Like, I won the lottery. Like, I get to be a lower middle class adult member of society and make art. Like, I won as far as that fight
Well, how'd you get
goes.
lucky?
Because the statistic you gave, 10% of people make it to this sort of level, or not level, but like can remain disciplined long enough to do something like this and
Yeah.
afford it, make themselves afford it. But I should be doing something else, and there's oftentimes I almost did something else.
You did a lot of something else.
So like it's
You
sort of a
also
miracle to
have-
get through here.
I
Like,
think you working so many different jobs also gave you
yeah,
motivation to be like,
I've had
I'm
like
not doing this.
30 jobs. Yeah, I did everything any
You've
shitty
done
thing
everything.
you can imagine.
You have to let some people know
I've
some
done
of your
it.
stories because they are. I'm so grateful to be present
Yeah.
for 15 years of your work stories because they've been amazing.
Well,
And I've had to I don't know. I mean, I've always given my advice, probably unsolicited, and I don't know if you listened, but I was like, I don't know about that one. So, and at a certain point, I just heard, and I was like, shaking my head, like, all right.
when you've got nothing to lose and no resources, you'll attempt anything or most things.
what has been your favorite job?
Favorite job?
And for those listening, he wasn't being hyperbolic. You really have had 30 jobs.
I've had 30 jobs.
And you're only 30 years old, so.
It's,
all right.
Statistically, that's got to be a sign of something.
There's probably some things going on there.
Well, the thing is, it's not like you ever. I don't know. I would if I'd. I'm probably really stubborn, like a very stubborn person in a way, where
Yeah, you are.
like, if I don't care about something, if I can't see a direct link between the greater good the thing I'm doing has, or either on me or on the people I'm around or the world as large, then I have no interest in doing it. And that's a lot of people have a lot of jobs that require you to do those sorts of things and sort of turn your brain off and, manual labor, digging ditches, throwing boxes, sort of jobs, that you can get as a young person that someone will just give you. When you're trying to finance your way through life and afford everything, you have to balance that. Like, how stubborn am I going to be versus how am I going to hold true to my convictions of this sort of work and life ethic that I want while I'm surrounded by miserable people doing this miserable task versus I have to pay for everything. And, the back and forth between that is often when you're doing that sort of shitty work. And sometimes your morals win and you have to tell them, I'm not coming to work today.
Or not tell them anything at all.
Or not tell them anything at all because it's just some shitty job. And it's like, fuck it, I'm not doing this any longer.
Do you feel like because you were on your own that you felt no need to justify, you just mastered your own domain?
Yeah,
for
100%.
me, coming home to my house where parents were going from job to job, they would grill me and guilt me, and I did. That's why I didn't do that. That's why I because I was like, well, I can't just keep leaving jobs. My parents, I don't want to hear the end of it.
Well, the
I
thing
also had a
is,
safety net of parents, I don't
right?
know,
So because you had parents, they're the voice of reason and love and affection and companionship, and a moral reason, but also they're just there for you. So that's safety net, like you said. But when you're spending most of your days with only shitty people, it takes a tremendous toll on your head.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you're just I literally cannot go there today and do that thing ever again. So you quit it and you do something else and you figure something else out because you have to. But,
What was your favorite job?
Favorite job I had? Probably just when I had good construction jobs, I liked those the most.
Yeah.
Because there's a immediate connection between yourself and the product, and there's always characters.
The characters in construction are wild, yeah.
But then some of my favorite jobs have been working in kitchens and working in restaurants, because when you're with your friends, that's even better.
Well, yeah, you got to specify it for those listening. Somehow, our friend group, we all always found ourselves working a lot of the same jobs, and there was a couple pivotal jobs pizza places, John Gino's. A lot of us worked at UPS at the same time and together or around it.
Yeah.
What's another? JR Instrument.
Oh, DR.
DR, my bad. DR Instrument.
I forgot about that, yeah.
So, not Subway. DR Instrument, UPS, and John Gino's. What's another one where people?
Exit.
Exit Strategy and The
Yeah.
Legend?
Not really.
No. So,
Not really.
Exit Strategy, which is a brewery. UPS, obviously, self-explanatory. John Gino's is a pizza place. And then DR Instrument.
Yeah.
And there was 4 to 7 of our close friends, very roommates and close friends, always working at these places at the same time, and many overlaps.
Yeah.
I remember when I think there was a time when it was you and Kristen and Eddie and Brian and Zach or Vinny
Likely.
at Exit Strategy. Somebody. There was like 5 or 6 people at the exact
That
same
sounds like
time.
a crew that was a Thursday night or something, a Friday
Well,
night. Yeah.
so the reason why I didn't go to those Thursday nights, it wasn't because I didn't want to. It's because it was the only time I got the house to myself.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys would all go, and I'd have the house to myself. I could make dinner, watch a movie, and no one's there because everyone's at work at the same
Yeah.
time. However, around midnight or 11:30, we're crazy because everyone would come over,
Right.
especially on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
And then at John Gino's, there was like you, Larry, Dill, Eddie, Jake.
Yeah.
You know, that was funny too.
An entire another roster of people.
Yeah. That's kind of fun, though. I don't think many people have those experiences where, like,
Probably not.
they work with their friends, like real legit close friends.
That's what I mean by I got lucky. Like
You're always around friends.
I had really good friends and I've found really good mentors, and so that's made the whole thing bearable. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you need some type of camaraderie and like a community if you're gonna. That's what a family is, and then your friends are like an attachment of that. But you made your friends your family, and like your family became like an like they were further away.
Right.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wild.
It is wild.
I remember that raccoon job you had.
Oh, yeah.
Animal control job.
Yeah, I had an animal control job. I was I only did that for like a weekend. Or a couple weekends.
Just go on a little tangent of all the different jobs because they don't even make sense.
I mean,
They're
honestly,
all
I don't
so
remember.
Different. I had a list for a while because I was
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how many different jobs you had.
I don't remember all of them, but this job in particular, I had to drive this guy around. I later found out he had a DUI. That's why he needed me to drive. So we drove around. You know, he had clients who had animals stuck in places, and we would, trap them and get rid of them.
Yeah.
And there was once.
Get rid of them, like kill them?
No, so this guy had a racket. I think you're supposed to euthanize them when you capture them.
Uh-huh.
In like some law the state has. He would just drive to the next job and let him go.
Like in a forest or something?
Just like at the next job.
Like at their house?
Well, if he would stop around the corner at a park or something and like let this raccoon out or something. So he would move them a couple miles away from each other. But
And you got this off Craigslist?
yeah, Craigslist.
You've done painting of like
Yeah, I've done
old
fine interiors.
mansions
yeah.
in Oak Park.
Right.
Done construction, electrical work in
Done electrical
Southside
work,
Chicago. UPS.
UPS. You want to name them all? We're going to name them
I'm
all.
just trying. I'm guessing pizza twice,
Yeah,
right?
a couple stints in the
No,
pizza
3 times.
business. Few stints in the pizza business.
Still stints in the no more stints in the pizza. business?
Nope.
You retired?
I wouldn't say that.
You should retire, Charlie.
Probably in hiatus.
you're in definite hiatus on like 10 different jobs.
Yeah.
Panera Bread.
I haven't. No, I've been there since I was a teenager.
But I'm saying you worked there.
I did work there.
I'm
yeah.
just naming places you've worked.
Oh yeah, I worked there for a
IHOP.
while. IHOP.
Any other service jobs? I guess Exit Strategy.
Yeah, there's probably something else in there too.
That one warehouse place in Oak Park that you worked at for a
Mm,
bit, making like the place. It was like the last place you worked at before you painted. The guy like sold it. And
yeah. Victory.
something.
Yeah.
I don't even
The
know.
graphic design vinyl shop.
So
yeah.
many. I can't even.
I was there for a couple of years.
Coffee, Alan Lark.
Oh, I worked there for a while.
All right, coffee.
Yeah, shout out Alan Lark.
Strange crew. No,
Nope, just
No.
a patron.
the fact you didn't even think about it's funny. You're like not there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you made T-shirts for DZ Fest for 8 years,
Yeah, I had
9
some-
years, right? 2013. Yeah,
Mhm.
so 9 years. Everything but the
years.
first year.
Right.
Yeah, that
That was Endeavor. I had a whole other. Yeah, I did that.
That
for a
was
while,
wild.
That other place.
I had.
The print
I'm
shop.
gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss the little thing you would do. By little thing, I mean like the little crew, like the Jason, you,
Yeah, the
Larry,
auxiliary.
and Jake or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then the stress. So it would always stress me out that like you clearly would bring stuff at like 10 in the morning the day of.
Yeah.
But I was so stressed at a level that was so high that I didn't really think about it.
Well, there's no
I
reason
just
for you
was
to worry
like,
about
he's
it.
gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna find a way to make sure that there's shirts here. I don't know how.
That's what I'm best
because
at.
last time I heard through the grapevine, he was started tonight, and tonight is Friday before DC Fest. But hey, it always found a way to.
It all came together. Often, all came together.
Oh man, that was so much fun. I'm really gonna miss that chaos, but it'll be better.
I've missed it, but not in like a I wish it was here kind of way.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel soft. Life's gotten life's hard in a different way, but it's gotten so easy compared to what it was, like physically easy.
Yeah.
Like I'm just using my brain so much now,
Mm-hmm.
Which is good. I mean, you can have a long career if you just use your head.
Right.
But I do miss the physicality of things.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
miss I still sort of do it, but not really. I miss building things and making
Yeah.
things, but I still do that.
When you have
smaller
45,000
scale.
square feet to do whatever you want with,
I mean,
build and blow up stuff,
Yeah, that property was exploited to its.
We're talking about
high.
where DZ Fest was, for those who don't know. And those looking, there's 10 posters showing it. But yeah, Charlie was a pivotal person in DZ Fest, from little ideas to big ideas, from the shirts, designs, graphic design, tools, building stuff, helping out every way, shape, or form.
Right.
I miss the old school way you made shirts with the little blowtorch or hairdryer thing.
Yeah, I quickly graduated from that.
That was it.
terrible.
Oh,
Yeah. That was fun though. That was a whole. That one might have been the first or second year we lived together.
yeah, 2015.
Yeah.
It'll be in the doc. We got footage.
It'll be in the doc.
It'll be in the doc.
That's so funny. Yeah, I forgot about that. Love tools.
Yeah, and then you started doing a lot of camera work. So
Mm-hmm.
when did you start? Because when I first met you, you were into creative stuff, music,
Yeah.
just a natural music consumer, and then playing bass and guitar and stuff. So you've just been on and off. You've always just had the creative bug.
I've always been a creative sort of person. Like I was never, I was in t-ball and things, but never excelled at those. I was always a creative person. Like
So even before you hung out with
yeah,
all of us,
no, I
you-
was always a
yeah.
creative person. Like I was thinking about, I always have been. I used to make my first thing I ever did was like would make greeting cards on. We got a computer probably when I was like,
Wait, what? What do you mean?
I don't know,
green
like
cards?
6 years old. We probably had
like
a computer.
for immigrants?
No, not green cards. Greeting cards. There's this. We had some, one of the first versions of
You said
Windows.
green cards. I was like, wait, what? So you had been committing crimes for quite some time.
It is illegal.
Greeting cards.
Yeah, like that was the first thing that I would make. Well, that's not true. I would do other stuff too, but like we had whatever version of Windows 97 or whatever the hell we had, something, and there was a greeting card making app, and I was,
So you like to make stuff.
yeah,
back then.
that's where I came up with the name, Custom Crafted Design.
Really?
That's
Back
how I
then?
would sign the back of my.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell people about that. What
That's
that is.
that's
and
sort
what
of
it-
just the umbrella of everything I do. Like it's sort of the that's the umbrella name of all of the endeavors I do. I do a million different things now more than ever. But
Right. What are some of the things?
so now, most recently, what I've been enjoying working on is I have 3 segments of content that I'm making. I'm doing the podcast,
Which is called.
which is called Inside the Artist Studio.
And how many episodes do I have till I get to go on?
You'll be the 100th guest.
And how many have you done?
I've recorded quite a few. I only have about 7 or 8 posted.
So I've got like
Yeah.
85 to go.
Something. It'll be okay. It's going well. But that's that's reformatting as well. Like the way I want that to be set up is the podcast serves as like the writer's workshop portion. So like how you and I are sitting together talking now and kind of doing the deep dig. That's cool and that exists as its own thing. And I love doing that in its own medium. But then from that, you distill like a short 5-10 minute doc about that person and their work and their studio, shooting them. Like that's a whole other segment of content. But it's also a way to just document contemporary art. And, I teach art, so it's good to have references to show students, like, this is what people are doing now.
Yeah.
That's fun. And then I have the educational series, which is just, it's called The Art Assignment, where I make videos about art history. That's cool. I love doing that. And then my work, which I call The Hero's Journey, which is another videos segment as well. That's my excuse to continue to make paintings and sculptures and make videos about them to tell stories.
And everyone can find all these where?
On YouTube.
What's the name of the channel?
It's just my name, Charles_Henry_. Charles Henry.
And all 3
That's me everywhere, yeah.
can be on there?
Oh, yeah, no, they're all on. So they all live there, but they all have their own respective places as well, those 3 segments.
What do you mean 3? respective?
Like, split, like channels. They have
Okay.
3 channels as well.
Okay. What are the names of the channels, though?
So that's the 3 things. That's Inside the Artist Studio,
That's
the Art Assignment, and then the Hero's Journey.
Get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then on like social media, like Instagram, they're all just through your custom
Yeah, I just
craft.
dump everything there. I'm not good at, formatting it all on website. Like, it's on my website as well, but
Yeah. It takes forever.
I just dump it all there.
It's
You
a
can
whole
find
job.
everything
It's
there.
a whole job.
Yeah.
what I have found, so when I said like I miss doing like the physical stuff and like building stuff and getting dirty, mowing grass, cleaning gutters. What I do now with that time, I'm not even joking, like an hour to 2 hours every day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursdays, I just post the stuff I make Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But for those 3 days, I did it today, I make social media and internet content based on the large form media that I'd make. Like, say there's a video that's 4 minutes long, band, I got to find 30 seconds in there.
Right.
But I make two formats, one for
Vertical.
4K, 2160, and then by whatever it is, and then a 1080 by 9620 1080p vertical for TikTok and
Right.
YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
And then all the photographs, then all of the tagging, then all of the hashtags and all of the locations, all the right times to post.
Right.
TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, the DZ Records page, Facebook, maybe my private one, probably not. And then plan out the next one. And it literally takes like hours to do all this.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I'm like, oh, there are careers. People just do this for a living.
Yeah.
So instead of cleaning gutters and mowing grass and shoveling stuff and fixing the house, I just do that now. And it's brutal. I've gotten much faster and good and better at it, but I'm like, but it's like just part of the job. It's
part of
I'm
your
not going to
job.
complain. I'm like sitting in my room
Yeah.
in like well lit, air conditioning, well ventilated, comfortable, climate controlled
Yeah.
situation. Like I'm not going to complain. I get to do push ups between each render of a video. Like what else am I going to do? But yeah, it's not swinging the hammer. It's not
It's a different sort of work.
different.
It's a different sort of work.
I'm not complaining. It just is what it is. So what I'm getting at is when your new art job and things start to smooth out and you don't have to do
Right.
the odd things you do on the weekends anymore, you'll
Yeah.
find yourself filling that time with that. And you'll get better at it. And thing is, you have to do it. You don't have to do it, but if you want what you're doing to grow,
Right.
you have to do it.
Yeah,
If you
of
don't
course.
want it to grow, you don't got to do anything.
Right.
It's like if you want. I've seen like the more I've done it, the more my stuff's grown a lot. So yeah, you have to do it or hire someone to do it. But I also like want to know how to do it. So one day when I can't afford to hire someone to do it, I know exactly how to talk to them, what they're doing. Like I want to, if I ever have to hire people, I want to know what they're doing instead of just. There's so many bosses and leaders and managers who just don't.
They're just a manager.
Yeah, they know like the one thing they're doing. They don't really know what.
Push, push, push.
Yeah. So when I talk to someone, like, hey, I want to understand what they're saying and what they mean by it. I'm also, curious, but yeah, it's weird.
It's
The
a
internet's
small,
a weird place.
It's a small price to pay for the sort of work you do. So
Yeah, I'm not. It's not a complaint. It's more like it's just being transparent. It's like this is what it is now.
yeah,
Life's
it's work.
different now.
It's different. It's changed. I agree.
Is it eons past paper cuts and dust and throwing boxes at UPS while like
yeah, but that was
driving
terrible.
a 96 Blazer with 4 ball tires and 1 speaker, with no insurance? Yeah, it's way better than that.
Yeah, I shouldn't romanticize those days, but I still do.
I can't help it, but they were terrible and super dangerous and
Yeah.
like scary.
Yeah, they were
And, like,
super dangerous.
It was sad. It was the saddest I ever was because it was just so hard. It was just so hard,
Stressful. Stress is a killer, and it's miserable.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm reading this book right now, Cobalt Red, and it is by far the worst thing I've ever
Don't be
read in my
reading
life.
that book, dude.
I wake up at 7 a.m. and I read that thing with my nice cup of coffee, and it is like the worst way to start today. But it's the best way because it is so unbelievably sad. Like what I was reading today,
What's that author's name?
Siddhartha something, I forget his name, but it's heavy. I mean, I've read a lot of heavy books the last few years, but this is by far like the worst.
I put it on my list, but I need like a headspace
It is
for that
so
book.
bad. But for those listening by bad, I mean like disturbing to read. It's not. It's a great book. It's horrific to read. It makes me feel so insignificant and so small and so helpless and such a part of the problem, even though I'm like not, but I am because I'm a consumer of lithium-ion batteries, which is in the whole world. And yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, these kids and these adults are being taken advantage of in a way that's never happened in human history based on how much money we're making off of them. Trillions of dollars are being made while they make like $1 a day. Usually they die. They have a lot of mine cave collapses because they're not reinforced with anything, and they just go in. And they're like gambling. They just go in to dig for cobalt and copper. and a lot of them die. If they don't die, they have cancer from the uranium and toxic fumes. And if they don't get that, they have infections from lacerations that get infected without, there's no medical attention. No one's there for them, and there's a lot of sketchy stuff going on between them and China and what they do with the cobalt and how it gets to, eventually finds its way into Dell and Apple and Tesla. It changed my mind on electric cars. I don't agree with electric cars anymore. I thought I did until I read this book. And now electric cars are actually not, well, so they take significantly more cobalt to make the batteries for electric cars, a lot. And then the infrastructure for electric cars is not there yet. Electric cars are made out of plastic and metal, which requires petroleum product to make. So you can't actually ever get rid of fossil fuels, ever, if you want to have cars that are made out of plastic and metals. And then the batteries are a huge problem. And even where you get the power from, unless we have nuclear energy, the power where we get it from, which is usually coal or gas, is still not, like, there's no way around it. So, like, why are we pushing electric? We should just make more efficient gas cars at this point. Honestly, and like less lithium stuff because it's so bad.
Why? What do you think makes people act that way?
It's just money.
But what is it?
Money, and which equates to power, which equates to more money, and also a little bit of, what's the word? Not naivety. Being naive, being arrogant, bad parents, not good upbringing. Not well educated. They're not going out to read the books. They went to Harvard or MIT or Stanford and got a good job at a tech company, and they skipped the whole problem of like learning what the world's all about. They fly over states instead of driving through flyover states like me. They have no remorse for human life. And
who runs these mines, though? The governments of these countries?
So the problem is the Congo, Democratic Republic of the Congo, and a lot of countries have corrupt governments. We do too. Theirs is just kind of worse, unfortunately. And it's something against the people. I don't blame citizens of any country when the government's bad, like China or Russia. It's the government, not the people. People are just as messed up and brainwashed and far off as anybody else. So it's many, many layers, multifaceted and dimensional. But the government of the Congo essentially is ripping off their own people by selling off this land and a lot of other territories of the Congo to really in a cheap way. Like for one situation where there's probably trillions of dollars worth of money to be made, they'll sell the land to like $12 million. $12 million sounds like a lot of money, but it's not when you can make trillions or billions. So they'll sell it to like a Chinese company. Chinese company comes in and they mess up their workers too. It's really the government's problem. They bring in their workers who don't make much in China, so they go to Africa and work also in crappy situations, but they're like higher up. They might be working machines or managers. They disassociate from the Congolese people. They stay in the Chinese towns and the Chinese restaurants. They like look down. There's racism everywhere, for those who don't know. And they don't like the Congolese people. They're black African people. And they stay away from them. And the black African people who are Congolese people don't like the Chinese people because they think that they're heartless and soulless, that they would just leave their family in China to come work here and exploit them. It's a whole mess. But anyway, the government sells off these lands for Chinese companies to come in and take the cobalt. There's industrial mining and artisanal mining. The artisanal mining is done by hand. It's more accurate on getting higher grade cobalt and higher percentage because you can do it by hand and be selected. Industrial mining is like a big bobcat comes in, backhoe, and just digs up a bunch of land or earth. And it's not as accurate to sift through it now. Machines have to process that. It's safer and healthier for everyone, but it's significantly more money. Do Apple, Sony, Samsung, Google, IBM, Dell, do they make enough money to strictly do industrial? Yeah. And that's the problem. Like, yeah, it's more money, more effort, but they make enough money to do it. They could do it. Or they could just make less money and pay the people who are doing artisanal mining. They have gloves, steel-toe boots, proper ventilation, ventilator mask, healthcare, days off work, I don't know, proper pay maybe, pensions, 401ks, like what we have here. They could afford all of that stuff. And instead, they get $1.10 a day to work 12 to 14 hours if they can even survive. They're underage, child labor. Pregnant women are doing it. Moms are doing it. They also have a super bad alcohol problem. They drink a ton because they're all in pain. They're all suffering. So they just drink. So alcoholism runs rampant. Death runs rampant. People are dying all the time. In the good mines that are safe, that where big companies use as a scapegoat, they say like, no, we have safe mines that do it. And those mines, the trick around it is they're industrial mines. And the people who are working it, they put up signs like no pregnant women and no alcohol. Like that's it. That's like all they do. And then the machines will take the ore and the metal and the earth that they dig out, and to save money and again to have it be sold back to them, they just dump it outside the fence for the kids to come and dig through it and then just buy it back off of them. And this is the good ones. It's bad. And people die a lot from the mines collapsing because there's no reinforcement. They're breathing in all this dust. And yeah, it's so bad. It's essentially modern day slavery. I mean, $1.10 is nothing when you have like a family.
It's so archaic and
it's super bad.
terrible.
And they're like treated like they're expendable. Like they're not even property. It's just like they die, whatever. They go into lands when they find that there's a source of cobalt or any rare earth metal they need, they just take over and, they won't do quite what they do in America, where like say the CTA needs to put a train through land and they do that. What's that phrase?
public
Domain phrase
yeah,
or something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, where they like
Domain.
pay you
Yeah,
to
yeah.
leave and at least they take care of you. They'll say that. They make you move and then they just say,
They start digging.
maybe they'll help you out a little bit. Like they don't. They just like say screw it and they got you out of your town. And now there's no jobs, so you have they make it where you have to work there. Like you only have a choice.
Yeah.
No one has a choice. And yeah, the people are all messed up. They're all banged up. They're hurt all the time. If they do survive, most of them die eventually. And they don't die from accidents. They die from sicknesses and cancers and stuff because it's all toxic. There's no ventilation. They're just breathing in
They're just digging in this
fumes
cave,
and
yeah.
like literally like radioactive metals from the earth. And yeah, it's pretty bad. So knowing how much money, like when I hear people talk about like, NFTs and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and how much money something has, how much stock this is and all that, makes me extra gross. I'm like, there's so much money
So
that
much
we don't
wealth.
have to have people living and doing this. I hope that the book and more people talking about it creates a problem to where these companies need to be held accountable and do something about it
It's sickening.
because they could afford to do it like so easily.
Yeah,
Like
it's
they could
sickening.
totally afford, and it's like the source of all of our knowledge and information. It's the tech industry. It's the biggest industry in the world, exploiting the most. It's
know.
really weird.
Makes you sick.
It does.
Makes you sick. The duality of man.
Mm-hmm.
Often depressing.
I don't even know how we got on that subject.
I mean, I'm familiar with the topic, and I'm familiar with Siddharth and that story since he came out with the book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so disheartening. It's like tremendously. I don't know. It just makes you question all of humanity, the whole of humanity.
I don't
You
get
know?
it. I don't get how. I mean, I get it. I get why it's happening, but I don't get it fundamentally.
I mean, we can distill why it's happening. Like, oh, that makes sense. They got this thing happening up here, and
It's been happening forever.
Yeah.
I mean, a
Like-
smaller, way less harsher, but still similar version of it happens in America when, the Mexicans, and for those speaking, or for those listening, I'm half Mexican, so I get it. And my grandpa did this too. They come from Mexico, and they do the jobs that anybody else would do, but way less. And we
Yeah.
exploit it. And we go,
we count on it. We count on it.
yeah, it's like, oh, we'll just, the Mexicans will come do it. We'll just pay them $5 an hour instead of someone else 10.
Yeah.
So like, it's obviously the conditions aren't as bad, but it's pretty bad, especially just how they even have to get here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They have to migrate from Jesus.
it's rough.
That's
I could see after going to Mexico City, I'm like, I could see why some people leave. If you don't have money, I could see why you leave because it's pretty rough, and dangerous, and scary.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of students that I have now.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Are some from Mexico or just their parents?
some are from Mexico. Lots are from like Venezuela,
Oh,
And,
that's
like-
even crazier.
like even in other conflict countries.
Guatemala.
Yeah. So then they've
Colombia.
migrated this far, and like in recent weeks, some of them have come to school. So it's crazy to think that like from these similar situations for different reasons, these children have been, they've fled home, they've immigrated. So similar to your story about exploitation of the Congo, we have similar
Yeah.
danger here, and these students are arriving in our classrooms. It's crazy, and
It is
it's
crazy.
really strange. But they're just regular people. It's wild. You don't want me playing with this? It's annoying.
It's making sound.
I know. I've been doing it the whole time.
I know. I've
It's
been
gonna be
waiting.
here.
I was like, I'm gonna take it from him.
The fidgets. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
What do we do?
What do we do? I was gonna ask you what we should do.
Well,
I know what I could do.
what I realize is the best way isn't to be. You can be as loud as you want on the internet, but it's gonna fall on deaf ears, and you're probably just gonna be put into categories. I think the best thing you can do is something that people have talked about. It's what a lot of religions talk about, and it's like, which I get why they do, and it's to just be the best you can be for yourself, just alone, then the people closest to you, a roommate, a friend, a partner, a family member, but then you're like community, like work on a realistic level.
Right.
Like realistically, you can help your students.
Mm-hmm.
You could help your roommate and your friends and your siblings and like you can actually do something there, like actually make a difference.
Right.
And it's all relative. For me, I can do that, and then I could do it on a level like this. I could do it on a level with bands and my students and a festival and community outreach and guest speaking, and I could do it like that. And that's what I try to do, and it works very well. It's actually real. I see the repercussions of just being nicer, being better, helping out people, doing community stuff, working for free to help people instead of always making it about money. And I think that's why there's a lot of problems in America right now, because we've become such a strong and wealthy superpower. But, I mean, not everyone, but most people. Relatively compared to the other countries, we're pretty darn good. As far as our safety, regulations, income, everything.
Yeah.
So, but not having religion, not having communities, everything being online, if we can get a little bit, online's great. Internet's amazing. It's hilarious. It's wild. It's how I learned about this book. It's how I learned about a lot of stuff. But I take it in small dosages. So, doses, I guess would be the right word. So, yeah, just doing small stuff. You're not gonna be the next Greta Thunberg or something like, or whoever, or Gandhi, or Mother Teresa. But on a small level, if everyone just did stuff in their house, their block, their neighborhood, their community, it can glue things better together and make a difference.
Right. We get to set the standards.
Right. And then it goes further. For those who have more power and money, I wish that they would do better things with that. Yeah, I wish more multi-billionaires and people who had hundreds of millions did more philanthropy. And I wish that it was, I don't know why they don't. I don't know
why they don't either. It seems like because you become detached, I suppose. When you get that level of wealth, you're insulated, and it seems like such an abstract thing, poverty, I guess. When you're insulated for a generation or two.
What would you do if you earned $1 billion, not given to you, but like say 10 years from now you're 40, and I don't know how, but custom craft just goes
Sure, we blow up.
You
Right.
get bought out for $1 billion after your lawyer fees, taxes, another partner that's in on it, you get like $380 million. What do you do with $380 million?
What do I do with
Yours, like, that's cash, like,
$80 million?
Just got transferred to your bank from the big parent company that bought it. Liquid cash.
I would need lots of help, honestly. That's what I would do. I would find good people doing good things and try to distribute that money to people who are already doing good in the world, and use it for my own philanthropy as well. Because I can survive on a tremendously small amount of money and have a really good time and life still.
Yeah, like you'd probably be fine on just 1/100th of that, 3.8 million.
Yeah, I could stretch that for my whole life.
I mean, I'm sure you could still make money in
Another
days.
40 years, 50 years, however long I live.
I would say, let's think about it. How much money do you need to be comfortable? So like $100,000 a year.
Adjusted for inflation, what is it, like $75,000 a year? Your happiness doesn't.
Yeah, it's like something
Improvement.
like 70 or 80
That's
grand
an
a
old
year.
statistic.
I'd say 80 grand
Sure.
a year doesn't change much. Especially if like you have a partner that also makes that, you both make that.
Mm-hmm.
But say $100,000 at you're 30. Say you lived in 90, 60 years. So that's what, $60 million?
No biggie. That's
Right?
it?
I think so. I'm not stupid. So I'm pretty sure it's $6 million. $6 million. So $6 million. We'll do some inflation. We'll call it a cool $10 million for the rest of your life.
10 mil. That seems fair.
Living comfortably, because then
I
that's
could
like,
do, yeah, I would be sufficiently happy with $10 million for the rest of my life. And it would open me up to put that money to work.
that's crazy. That to live a really good life, like it's a really comfortable life.
Yeah.
In America. Maybe if you don't live in like New York or San Francisco, but whatever. Screw that.
If you're the average,
A
plenty comfortable life.
So the second you find out someone makes that in a year or 100 million a year or something, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
whoa.
I don't know. I don't know why people don't desire to do more good in a more effective fashion. I don't understand it. Because the people who don't have resources dedicate their lives to it.
Yeah.
And
My parents were like that. They
Yeah.
didn't have much, and they didn't go to college, and they had hard jobs, and all they did was charity work and like community work, mostly just time, because they didn't even have money to do charity work, so they did their time in bodies and hearts, like
right.
from church stuff to feeding homeless to this and that. I mean, it's where I got the ability to see that from, for sure. Like, it's not all about money, and you can just give time and effort, and that's valuable.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wish more people did that. It's really great when people do it, and you don't even hear about it. A lot of people do it. They don't put it on the internet.
No,
or
I mean, that
anything.
stuff's good and that stuff's well and good, and I love it, and I contribute as well. But I mean, people with resources, why they don't desire to do, I don't know. It's a strange thing too, and I know that there's like a whole science behind effective altruism and like strategic altruism, but it still seems like it's scarce, given all the abundance. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just within our government, they could do a much better job. I mean, there's a lot of taxes out there, and when you find out some of the stuff, places they put the money, you're like, what? What? We could have fixed like education problems, healthcare issues, college issues. Like, you know, maybe not get rid of all the student debt, because does that actually fix anything? But just make like at least public institutions cheaper. They are funded by taxes. So just like mostly by taxes. So like make them cheaper, more affordable is a better way to say it. Healthcare is disturbing for having like the best actual like research and facilities and computers and healthcare abilities, but with one of the worst healthcare systems as far as its price, makes no sense at all. It's very strange and backwards. Yeah, I don't know. So I just do what I know, and I do it the best I can, because I'm like, I can't fix all this.
I wish I had better answers, like a politician or a doctor or a lawyer or someone
They
who's
don't
like,
have any answers
I do
either.
this, and this, and I know that this is going
They
to be
just say
effective,
it.
and they believe it
Most of them don't do it.
with conviction. Yeah, I don't know. I
You
share
would-
similar sentiment where it's like, what can we do today? You know,
Yeah.
what can we do right now?
Yeah.
And what can I do this year that's going to help my community and people around me? And then you just got to be outraged about everything else. Like, you have to have moments of outrage when you can for those other things, like the Congolese people who are just being exploited. It's sad as hell, and it breaks my heart to pieces to think about the duality of man in that way. But I don't know. I'm only one man.
Yeah,
We need
yeah.
help.
They like. I was reading this page today. Like his dad just accepts his fate. He's just like,
Goes to
every
work
time I go in the
morning.
mine, there's a good chance it could collapse on me. So every time I see say goodbye to my kids, it's like the last time I can see them. This person's like 30, like my age, and has to think like every time I go to work, I could die.
I might die. I might never come back.
I don't think there's a profession in the world where it's like that guaranteed. Like there's a good, like it's not even like a good chance. Like he's probably going to die.
It's probably like a 51% chance.
It's not. The odds are bad.
It's a gamble every morning.
Yeah, it's bad. And like they don't make anything. Like even when you do go to work and it's a successful day, you come back with $1.10.
They don't even know.
$2.
They probably don't even realize to the extent that they're being exploited. They know they're in hell, but they don't realize how bad it is. Like,
Yeah, they
on
have
the
some. They have
economic
some idea, but I
level.
don't think they realize it. Like if they saw Beverly Hills,
or like
You know,
Dubai, or
just some place
yeah.
that's just, or Monaco, or just a nice spot in London, just any place at night. Went to Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and hung out in like a nice area, or the financial district.
Probably unimaginable.
Yeah.
And how sad is that? I don't know. Breaks my heart. It's terrible.
It is terrible.
It's terrible.
And the worst part is it's terrible as we use rechargeable stuff.
I feel my phone
batteries
vibrating in my
basement.
pocket right now. I know. It's
Right?
terrible. It's miserable.
I know. So yeah, I don't know.
Did you ever see the documentary Zeitgeist?
Yeah, when I was like 17 in high school.
I think that was my first outrage at the government is when I saw that, because I was like probably 17 or 18 when I saw it, and you learn about all that.
Yeah, it's just another business. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's great. Like a time where I actually had some respect for some elements of our government was in Mexico City. I was like, wow, I've always been annoyed with regulation because sometimes it's, stepped on my parade.
Sure.
And I was like, wow, I'm glad we have some regulations because of our water, our power, our air, our traffic, our cars,
Yeah.
our food, FDA, Food and Drug Administration. Like, kind of grateful for some of the elements of it because this is pretty rough down here and really dangerous. And the air is terrible, and the waters, you'll die or get sick, and the electricity is horrific, and I can't breathe. Like, it smells so bad in the air, and the traffic is horrific, and the police. I mean,
Right.
man,
Just corruption and terrible
which is like such
infrastructure, top to
it's such a
bottom.
layered thing because like there's issues with the police in America, right? But nothing compared to the police in Mexico.
Just scales.
It's like not even
Yeah.
compare. It's like, whoa, like
It's because they don't have any
You're-
regulations in their police departments, probably.
in America, in Chicago at least, where weed is legal, but you're not allowed to smoke on the street, but we do it. So what you're worried about on the street is maybe a cop sees you, maybe they decide to give you a ticket, but they probably won't. In Mexico, it's legal, but you can't buy it. And you're scared to smoke on the street because if a cop catches you, you're not scared of getting a ticket. You're scared of how much money do I have to pay them now to not harass me. If you're an American, how much money do I have to pay them now? They know I got money because I'm here as an American. How much money do I have to pay them to really leave me alone and not mess with me or take my stuff or something?
Arrest me or whatever.
Arrest me, give me a hard time. It's just stuff that would not happen in Chicago at all. And that's like a really light, simple, basic thing. And there's a lot of other things where it's like, you can't, if there is an issue there, you call the police, they're not going to come. And if they do come, they're not going to do anything. And they have military
Unless
trucks
you pay
driving
them.
around the streets. Like, it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
We have gangs in Chicago that are bad. They have a gang that just runs the country.
That's how it is. You're going to compare it to a gang. I think they're a little more.
But as far as the
You
black
could say that
market
about you could say that
infrastructure-
about our government as well.
Yeah, they are kind of like the big bully gang. That's true. They just
But
do
yeah,
it.
I get that. But I mean, how much of that money, that sort of drug money, just comes north anyway?
Yeah,
Like the whole
Yeah.
thing. The whole thing. Like there's
it's crazy.
It's worse there.
It's so much worse there. It's beyond worse.
trickle
there.
down.
It's beyond.
It only
worse
works
there.
for
You can't
bad
go on a
things.
road trip there, Charlie.
No, I'm gonna ride my motorcycle to
Don't.
Cabo.
Do not.
Down
You
the
can't go on a road
peninsula.
trip there. You can go.
I have this theory
if
about
you're
Mexico.
a man in America.
I have this theory about Mexico.
What's your theory?
The cartel keeps the cowards out.
No. The cartel
If you
is
just-
ruining the country.
I'm gonna take the peninsula, the whole Pacific coast down to
The only way I would ever recommend that, if you truly do want to do it, I'm not going to stop you, is do it with someone who speaks Spanish fluently, is from Mexico.
Mhm.
Because they're the ones that will get you out of stuff and tell you, let's not do here, let's go here, let's do this and that. That's the thing that, made what could have been a really dangerous and sketchy and awful experience with me easy, is being around people that are from there or
Locals.
been there a lot, and they, guided me through the whole thing. Kept kind of like my unofficial bodyguards. I mean, I was walking around with tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment in my
Yeah.
suitcases, recording bands
right.
in a place. If someone knew that, I mean, ooh,
You're a target. Yeah, so it's cool. You got to
Yeah.
know the locals.
you got to know people. You got to know some
Make
people.
friends.
But it's the same. It's all relative. Same thing here. If someone came from, say, a person
Yeah.
from England or France came to Chicago, you're just gonna bring them to bad neighborhoods. Or you're gonna Like, let's
Yeah.
go here, not here. Like, you'd show them around.
Yeah, of course.
You know, tell them where
You got to
should
tell them about the area, what
Right.
to expect, what to anticipate.
But there, like here, the further you get from cities, the safer it is.
Yeah,
There, the further you get from cities, the more dangerous it is.
because there's still people that are rural. Yeah, it's true.
Just because, like,
becomes more
the
lawless.
cartel is more out in the outskirts, and there's no one to help. Like, there's nothing that, like, they catch you. Who knows what they'll do?
Right.
They may let you go, may take your stuff, may take some money. I don't know.
No, or worse. Yeah.
Yeah, man, we're fortunate.
Yeah, I love living in America.
It's got some ways to go, but it is eons past a lot of places. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, like your situation, going full circle, you would not.
Only
If
in
you were in
America.
Mexico, you would have just been screwed.
Only in America.
Only in America, you could have pulled off. I mean, maybe like some Western European countries,
Sure.
you could have pulled off like what you pulled off on your own, essentially. You know?
Persistence. You know, there's that great Ray Kroc quote.
How many times did you want to quit?
I still want
There's
to quit.
3 levels of quit.
I woke up this morning. I might not.
There's
might
3
not do
levels
this.
of quit. There's school, which is probably the easiest and first one. There's work and jobs, and then there's life.
I've wanted to quit all 3 before. You know, I mean,
We'll go with school. It's lighter.
School was
Because 12 years, that's a lot. It's hard.
Yeah, and there's years of not going and semesters of going, and it was on and off often. And
How many times did you change the focus?
I really didn't start until I was like 26.
Right.
So
Because you were on
Still-
and off between 18 and 26.
I took a semester here, and I did a semester here and there between 18 and
Because you did the GED test right away, right? In the fall?
yeah. So
Or the spring, like right when you dropped out.
I think I did it right away. I think by like May or June I had a GED.
Yeah.
So of that, what would have been my senior year of high school.
Right.
So I went and did that because but I stopped going to the classes, the prep classes for it. I went to maybe like 3 or 4 of them, and I stopped
You
going.
realized, like, I don't need this.
I realized I didn't need this, and there's other people that needed more help than I did in there.
Why take the air out of the room?
Right. And so, I helped. I would go there and help. I did that for like 3 weeks. I met this really good guy. I was thinking about him the other day. I forget his name though, but I drove him home. He gave me a blunt to smoke on my way home.
Recently?
No, this was when I was like 18.
Oh, that's a great way to leave your
Yeah.
GED class, smoke a blunt on the way home.
100%. The degenerates walking out of that classroom. My
Yeah, what
gosh.
kind of people were in that class?
Some people were just regular people, like myself, who were just like, regular people. What does that even mean? Some of them were like adults who had just immigrated here, who wanted to get a high school equivalency. Maybe they did it in their country, but needed paperwork here.
Yeah.
They were doing that. Other people were just other hopeless kids like myself, who didn't have resources or support and ended up here, but are wanting to do good, trying to do good anyway. And then some of them were just like sick people with drugs or alcohol, something.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the gamut of people that I observed. And right away, though, I knew that this classes wasn't going to be helpful to me, but I went and took the test, and it was
I mean, you have to if you want to go to college.
hour and a half.
Right.
Yeah. And then
Or get, like, most jobs ever.
yeah, I just did it because, it was a smart thing to do at the time. I had a conversation with, like, my high school counselors. No one at high school knew what was going on in my life. Like, they observed me doing weird things.
They're not stupid.
They're not
They picked
stupid.
up, like, you didn't have what most people had.
Yeah, so it wasn't until, like, the day or two before I dropped out of high school, I told them all, like, went and told my dean, went and told my counselor, and, like, explained everything that I've been going through in the last 3 years. And they were in shock.
Yeah.
They were in shock. So they helped me, like, do the GED. Shout out Tammy DeFazio. I think she still works at Argo. She wrote a letter for me to the Moraine admissions people and got me into the programs. Like, I've known Charles. I know his situation. It's the reason, probably the first reason that I even got FAFSA was because of the letter she wrote. So
Is it free, the GED class?
the GED was free. Yeah. Was it free? I might have had to pay $50 or $60 or something.
Should be free.
Should 100%
The irony of
be
making
free.
people pay.
It
for
might have
the
been more. It
GED.
might have been like $110 or something. It was like a week's
That should
worth
just
of,
be provided by the state.
I'm not certain. It might have been free. I can't remember. But yeah, like the trajectory was never to be a delinquent. I just was.
Well, no.
I had delinquent tendencies because I needed to survive often.
Dude, Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, Lord of the Flies.
You were, for lack of a better word, you were raised by like kind of your friends, like a pack of wolves for a while.
Essentially, yeah.
Like,
my
pretty
formative
much.
years where and the thing is I had already been searching for that. Like I was looking for mentors from an earlier age even, you know. When I really think about like when I started to feel alone and knew that I would be distant from my family, it was probably like honestly like 7 or 8 years old, 6, 7, 8 years old.
Really?
When I knew that in hindsight especially. But
How did you know that at 6?
well, the thing is, there was always like this stress, and there was always this stress, this sense of unease, even as like a child. Like I used to have insomnia as a child, like because I was scared and lonely. I just wouldn't sleep because I was scared of my life and my parents and like
What
the world
their
around
behavior?
me. Yeah, just observing things and like, you know, there's good times and moments that I remember as well, you know, but I don't know what it was. I felt that way since I was a young boy. So, and things just continue to compound like through my childhood. I remember being like 12 years old, 6th grade, and a teacher asking me about my parents, and I had never like spoken out loud about them, about like what was going on, and I just started crying just for no reason, just because like someone asked me finally, and it just brought it all to the surface, you know. And so like that had already been going on for years at that point. So by the time I was 14 or 15, like it had compounded so much and like it was just unbearable that I sort of just left and like lived around and, you know, with some family at times and like, but eventually, you know, by the time I was 16 or 17, I was living with another family, Jake's family, Jim, you know. So and then it was kind of undoing all of that. I feel like up until this point in my life, like I've sort of had to course correct for all of those moments of my childhood and adolescence and teenage years and even my 20s and still to this day, probably forever. Because, you know, to be a delinquent was never my desire. It's no one's desire.
No.
No one desires it.
Nobody wants that.
But
No.
it was tough, but like I learned perseverance. And what I was getting at was that like by the time I met you guys, I was already looking for like mentors and friends and someone to guide me. So very much I was raised by like people just 3 or 4 years older than me, 2 or 3 or 4 years older than me.
Yeah. Like Jake and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my friends who, you know, you are my friends, of course, but my other peers who are just a year older than me, like, became my family, and that's how I learned. And I had, luckily, I had the benefit of Jim. Like, he gave me a tremendous leg up in life. Like,
Yeah.
lived there for like 3 years.
I miss Jim.
Yeah. And finished what was high school there and got my GED there and started working there. And he gave me my first car. Like he hooked me up with my first car, and I was grateful for that. And he was, and he yelled at me. He would yell at me, you know, and I needed to get yelled at as a 17-year-old
Kids need to
man.
be yelled at.
You know,
Like, you gotta be disciplined, man.
yeah.
gotta be yelled
Sometimes
at, reprimanded.
Seldom did the man yell, but he would, you know, and he's yeah. You know, I had lots of help. That's what I mean by I got lucky. Like I had help.
Yeah,
And
you could have had no one.
And I always wanted a forward momentum, a higher trajectory, and I'm still not done. I don't think I'll ever be finished. You know, I should probably get therapy, but
Have you ever?
I've had like stints of it, but I've always just felt belittled.
Why? What do you mean belittled?
I don't know. The whole thing. I just get too self-aware.
I have a theory.
Let's hear it.
So it's hard to articulate it, but by we I mean you and I and our 20-person friend group, but really is like 10, strangely close.
Yes.
Like literally like brothers for like the last 15 years. Like closer than anybody's friends I've ever seen.
Right.
Like
Yeah. We're
to a
guilty of
strange
it.
level. Like, we've lived together, done everything together, all the heartbreak, all the girlfriends, all the boyfriends, all the jobs, all the college, the dropping out, the ups and downs, bad financial decisions, goods, bads, bands, performing, hooking each other up, making each other stuff. working, like
Everything.
everything. Traveling up. We know each other's families.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how close. But also strangely open. Strangely open, I think, because of the safety net of the DZ.
Likely. Yeah.
And it's almost why I think, like, a lot of us, like, got a lot of therapy out, and why a lot of us, like,
A lot of interpersonal. We worked it all out. We worked a lot of it out.
that's what I'm saying.
A lot of it out.
Like,
yeah.
when I
As
hear
young
about what
men.
people I know when they talk about what they talk about in therapy, I'm like, dude, I do that all the time. I just did it yesterday with Zach in the forest, and we walked for an hour and a half, just like,
People don't speak that way.
I've always been, I can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're clearly an honest individual. I know I'm not going to deny that, like, there's a perk in talking to someone for two reasons: that A, they don't know you, so they have a completely unbiased thought and opinion on you, and B, they're trained in very many
Yeah.
facets of it. So I'm not going to take that away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying the act of being very vulnerable, honest, and transparent with people in a very personal way, where they, like, hear you out, and it's not transactional. It's very, like, because they care. I've had that, like, with a lot of close friends for a very long time, at a level that I don't think many people are fortunate to be exposed to.
No, it's probably the only reason I'm a sane individual.
That's what I'm saying.
Likely.
Same here.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm just like, man, I've been able to have some really serious stuff with a lot of friends for a long time. And also, luckily, to my advantage, my parents, my mom, very transparent. We've been able to, like, talk about stuff that sometimes you might have to go talk to a therapist. I'm going to talk to her.
That's good.
But it's just a
Yeah.
theory I have, because I'm like, why is it, like, I could see how I could talk to a therapist to be good, but I feel like I always
That's
just
even
talk to my close friends about, like, the heaviest stuff, and we just, like, get it out.
Yeah.
We just get it out.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's ultra heavy, but it, like, is so helpful to do that. And again, it is, it is important to still talk to someone you don't know who is more trained in certain ways of analyzing stuff and can kind of give you a reflection.
Sure.
But yeah,
I've only ever just felt belittled.
well, give me an example.
I don't know. Therapists are, no offense to therapists out there, but they're always like sniffing.
Well, that's what they're supposed to do.
They're always looking like, looking for the clinical box they could just check about you.
That's what I'm afraid of. Like, what do you think they would say about me if I just spilled
You're
the
all
beans?
messed up,
That's
dude.
what I'm
You're all
saying.
messed up.
What are
You've
they
got
gonna try to
clinical, this, and
What are they
that,
going to try to poop me on?
I don't know.
If I spill the beans?
And you know what? I was sincerely turned off. This is terrible, and I probably sound like an idiot telling this, but like, I was sincerely turned off. Like, okay, so like for the first time in my life, I just recently, in the last year or so, I like got medication to treat depression, and it was a terrible experience. One,
What medication?
Wellbutrin.
What is it for antidepressant?
It's an SSRI. An SSRI. selective
Antidepressant?
Yeah, it's an antidepressant. And it didn't work. I was just still continued to be sad
How
in my
long
thoughts.
did you take it for?
I didn't reach they want you to take it for 8 weeks before they change the dose. They changed the dose once on me. But that's like the minutia of it. Let me tell a story here. Okay, so they put me I finally pour my heart out to a clinician, like a therapist and a psychiatrist. Got to tell them both what's up. I'm like, I go and I just I lay it all out, like how you would have to do in that scenario. And they're like, okay, you've got this and this and this. And if you want, we can try this drug and this method. I'm like, okay, let's try it. I'm trying the whole thing, right? We're doing the whole thing now. I'm going to try the drug and see the doctor and see what's up in this head of mine, right? This drug they give me doesn't like immediately change my mood. I feel better about just going to see the doctor, of course. So like I'm in a better sentiment. But then I have an allergic reaction to it. My hands and feet just swell up.
I remember this when you told me about it.
So now I'm just sad and suicidal with swollen hands and swollen feet.
The 3 S's, suicidal, sad,
And I have to
swollen.
talk to the doctor on them. I have to wait the weekend to talk to them. It's like Christmas Eve. So I'm waiting to speak to the doctor. I'm like, yeah, it didn't work, doc. So I'm off on the Western medicine approach to mental health for a while anyway.
This is going to sound like a very boring, basic question, but did finishing school, being on your own and completely autonomous, and then getting a job in your field, has it changed anything about how you feel?
In my innocence, I thought it would. But what I've realized is that sometimes success just feels like relief in a way.
So relief
Relief is good. It's stress, but jump for joy. I don't know. I haven't had that.
Right. It's just another change of pace.
Change of
So
pace.
you really did find it from within.
Got to find it from within.
Yeah.
This was a hurdle, a tremendous feat of the physical world to do all of this and meander this way and finally lock it in. But it's only just like I've only just turned the stone over, it feels now.
Yeah, I might have to ask you that in like 3 months because I'm just gonna say it for those listening. You still work odd jobs while like doing this stuff.
I will continue to have some sort of odd job, probably for the rest of my life. Yeah,
But like by
But
odd
more
jobs,
re-
I don't mean
more
I don't
related.
mean your business.
no, yeah. No, I know.
I
what you
mean
like other businesses, working-
random nonsense.
Yeah.
You think you're still gonna do that stuff for the rest of your life?
Not the bullshit stuff.
Yeah,
but like
please don't.
not the bullshit stuff. But
But I mean, like delivering pizzas, working at bars, that
no,
stuff.
no, certainly not.
Because I feel like once that's out, it's like a change. You have to have a change of environment, like a full one. Like you have to like once you're around the kids more and fellow faculty, and then you're doing your art and you're working with more artists and you're selling stuff and you're collaborating that way, and you get out of the weight.
That's
and-
when the joy might come. But it's like I said,
Yeah.
it's not like it hasn't been like an immediate turnkey thing. And that's what I mean to say that sometimes success just feels like relief. I don't think it's a bad thing or knocking it or trying to belittle or diminish it, but
not having to live paycheck to paycheck will be nice.
that'll be super nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
More resources.
Yeah.
I've been okay for a while, but like the stress of that, now I can build equity in myself.
Right. Within a year, you could live alone without a roommate.
Yeah.
you
Most
know,
certainly, yeah.
Which is like, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. So, when did you realize you wanted to be or go into education or teaching education?
Most of my life.
Most life you knew that?
Yeah, like even before high school, I think I wanted to be a teacher.
Just summers off, spring break?
No, I
No,
just
I'm kidding.
I think that, like I said, when I was a kid, I was already sort of like weird and alone often, and teachers were often the most helpful and compassionate people. So I think I just immediately identified with them that like
Right.
this is someone who's helpful and I can learn from, and it seems they might care. So like it seemed like an occupation that would fill my morality and make me feel good, and I do feel that way about it. Truly, everything else has been to just get to this point. While I don't think I'm gonna stay in like the elementary or middle school or high school classroom for 30 years, I think I have a lot to learn here. I think I can do a lot of good as well, even if it's just to individuals, maybe 1 or 2 kids a year who I can really like shock a little bit to change their life. And I hope
Yeah.
peripherally to help all students that I encounter. But, I think I can do some good for some time here.
Your
With-
goal is to eventually do a post-secondary ed?
Yeah, something in post-secondary. But I also really want to grow my leather business.
Right.
I really have enjoyed that as a craft, and I've fallen in love with the material. And
Handcrafted leather material, like items.
yeah, all
Wallets,
sorts of
purses,
wallet-
shoes.
yes.
I need a new wallet. That wallet you gave me, I beat to hell.
That was a good wallet, and you ruined it, huh?
It's just, I think it was meant for like not a lot of cards.
It was from
I
the
think it was
60s.
pre-credit card world. So
It was from the 60s. It was I forget the tannery, but
I need something that could hold like more stuff.
I
like
got one for you.
cash and stuff,
I got one for you.
cards.
I should have brought one for you.
IDs. Yeah, it's beat to hell. My alien wallet I had for 20 years or so.
It's just 2 pieces of leather.
It was fine, and this one just like falls apart. I mean, like, what did I do? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I really want to do that.
What got you into leather? Because you were not doing it not even that long ago.
I've always been into materials, just all sorts of materials. I've worked with just about everything. And I needed to buy a wallet like 2 years ago. And I was doing a deep dive, and nice wallets are expensive. And I'm like, for a couple $100, I could buy a whole side of a cow and learn
Whole
how to
side of a cow.
a whole, yeah.
How much? How many square inches, not cubic, just square inches of
And they do it by feet. It's like a side's anywhere between like 6 to 9 feet.
9 square feet?
Yeah.
Okay. So
or even more probably
okay.
at the tannery. So out of one
What is that?
side, you could probably
108
get,
square inches.
yeah, you could probably make like 90 wallets out of that or something.
Really?
Yeah.
How much is the 9-foot square leather?
Anywhere from like $125 to like $1,000
Well,
or more.
What do you buy? Like, what's your price range you buy?
I like the $200 to $300.
So say you do $300, you make 100 wallets. So $3
Mm-hmm.
per leather for wallet. And then how much would you charge for your time? How long does it take to make the wallet?
So I've got it down to like a little bit of an assembly line fashion now. I probably can do one wallet in elapsed time, maybe like an hour 15 minutes.
Dang, your wallet company should sponsor my podcast.
I'll sponsor your podcast, Custom Crafted Design.
Yeah,
All right, cool.
it's free.
Yeah, sure. You got to do a table read. I get to write a.
You got to do 10. Yeah, and we'll do 10% off if you use code Bending Brains.
But you have to do a read
I'll do
at
it.
the beginning of the podcast, or like
do
edit
it.
one in. All right,
do
I
it.
get to write it too.
I'm gonna alter it.
Mm,
My favorite are the podcasts where they read it, but like 10% of it they like.
oh, my
add their
favorites
flair.
is Marin's for Just Coffee Co-op. Do you know it?
Maybe.
Pow! I just shit my pants. JustCoffeeCoop.com.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
the best.
I like it. Yeah.
10%.
10% off.
So I actually have a drop I'm doing the 1st of May. It'll be available online. And if anyone wants to find it and purchase one, they'll be $60 each. $10 of every purchase will go to the Habitat for Humanity. And this is my first design through Custom Crafted Design I'm dropping.
Nice.
Small run.
Nice.
So get it while it's hot.
I
Get
like
while the
it.
getting's good.
I like it. We need to start a thing.
There's a thing.
I need to start a thing.
I need to, be on the thing a little more. But there's
I have
a
an
thing.
idea of some things about the thing that I could do with a thing or two.
Yeah? I would be curious to hear what you had to say.
Well, you know that wall of gear behind you that once put on a festival?
Mm-hmm.
Like trying to find a art gallery or community center, something in Bridgeport to
Yeah.
just like kind of donate all of it so we could put on like shows and events and stuff with it.
Oh, you want to do something like that? I mean,
Yeah. Because it's just sitting there. I'm never going to use it for anything. I don't plan on, unless I have my own venue, I don't plan on doing anything with it. So
sure. When you get your own venue, you'll upgrade anyway.
yeah, that's not my quality of venue I'd want. Isn't that gear?
You should contact the Chicago Tool Library.
I need to contact some people.
See what they can do with it, because they've got a lot of arms in the world. Have you heard of this place? It's not far from here. The Chicago Tool Library. It's a library for tools, tools and other things, audio equipment as well. And perhaps it doesn't end up as something that you just rent from them for free, but they might be able to put it in good hands or direct you to some good hands. They're a really cool organization, all non-for-profit. Go there and you need something today? You need a jigsaw today? Go get a jigsaw with your library card.
I like that. That's a cool
Super
idea.
It's like 2 miles from here, so check that out.
Leather.
Leather. It's a way to the reason that I continue to like leather is because wherever my trajectory takes me through academia, and when I might get caught up with lesson planning and teaching other projects and teaching students, when I get troubled with that, or not troubled with that, when I get tasked with that for long periods of time, it's a simple way for me to always just have a material to work with. So like my hands are on something, and it's a product at the end which I can sell. So it's cool for cool for a couple of reasons, and I've had to distill that from a many million projects and things that I do.
Yeah.
And all of those things are coming to use all the time as well. You know, I basically live in a studio, and I love
me
it.
too.
I don't know that I want to live any other way since I have lived this way for so long.
Living in a studio is great.
Yeah, so there's always materials at hand, but and I just enjoy the history of it all. Ties into is a tremendous history here in the United States, Chicago especially. All of my leather comes from the Horween Leather Tannery here in Chicago. They make all of the balls for all of the sports.
Really?
Yep,
All the balls for all the sports.
but they have
that kind of goes full circle, if you know what I'm saying.
all of the. Are you talking about the catch team?
Yeah. We got to talk about some of the things you've done.
That's just the
we
silly
haven't
antic.
talked a lot about
That's just the
what
silly
has made
antic.
you.
I don't. What do you want to talk about? You got a particular
Charlie,
story that you?
How long did you deliver pizza for?
time elapsed in my life, probably years.
How many? Like 4? 3?
Yeah, probably like 4 years.
degrees. You have a degree. You have a bachelor's in pizza delivery.
I've got a bachelor's in a few things, honestly.
Unofficially.
Unofficially, like tens of thousands of hours into some other things
Yeah.
that are.
But it's cool though because it makes you so well-rounded and appreciative of what you have. Like some of the places and people you had to deliver pizza to, and
I mean, that's just
but
when
like
you're like
seeing that stuff, like the inside
okay.
scoop. Talk about the people that would like, hit on you.
Oh,
touch
okay.
you.
So there's shit like that. There's shit like that, but the average person delivering pizza is either a kid or like this is such a stupid thing to talk about, but the average person.
How's it stupid? Who doesn't like pizza and who doesn't get pizza delivered?
Let me tell it from my perspective here, but like I'm saying, like okay, who do you expect the pizza guy to be? Like it's a kid or it's like someone on the fringe of society who's like
99% of the time it's been a guy.
right.
I've only had a couple female pizza delivery drivers, as I understand why. It's not the best situation you want to be in as a woman. A lot of weird dudes out there.
Okay. Now imagine you're you and you know what you know about psychology and human conditioning and just, social economical
Sure.
development, and you knock on someone's door and you immediately are just psychoanalyzing the person and their life choices and
Yeah.
based on the way that
Like
they
it's
look
noon
through
and they're
their-
ordering a deep dish pizza on a Monday.
Yeah, like so that you just look at everything. You're hyper aware, hyper observant. So it's like kind of sad in a way. Like
Yeah.
you're delivering to like a diabetic at 1:00 in the afternoon between classes or something. Like
Yeah, pizza delivery on during the week.
it's sad.
and
It's a sad
during the
thing.
day, it's a weird thing to do.
I mean, it's an accessible thing for a young person to do, and it's flexible, so it's fine. It's somewhat lucrative. It's not my favorite job I've ever had. That's for damn
No,
sure.
Not at all.
But yeah, and there's
But
all
you're
sorts
such
of
a
bullshit like
respected.
that.
Like people love the pizza delivery guy.
Some people love the pizza delivery
I do,
guy.
but it's probably because I have. First of all, I have an affinity with pizza. Second of all, like every one of my close guy friends has worked in the pizza industry, so I have like that
yeah,
relationship with it. It's been very close to home. I have mad respect for it. I've seen what people have had to do it while they're like in college and stuff. So like I respect the trade a lot.
yeah.
Also, like who doesn't like, let alone love pizza? And most of the time you get it delivered because you don't want to just go get it. And it's like one of the only food things where you don't have to do. It predates all Uber Eats and all that jazz.
It's a legacy food. It's
Dude,
like
people
a
have been
part of the
delivering pizza
culture.
probably for like 50, 60 years. It's been a thing, like
Probably.
maybe longer. I don't know. But it's its own industry and it's great.
The pizza industry. Yeah.
And usually it's Saturday night and you're high and drunk with your buddies and you don't want to drive. So you get the pizza delivery guy. When they show up, if you are high and drunk and that pizza shows up
Yeah.
at like 8,
Most people are ecstatic.
it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Some of the things I miss the most is chilling in the garage and you just show up with the pizza. Especially, for those who don't know, Charlie does not like to... You have a very unorthodox way of communicating.
That's not true. Everything's on my sleeve.
More than anybody I know.
100% all out
I do
there.
a lot of texting, and you are by far the hardest person to figure out when it comes to texting. Today, great example. Text you. You come in at 6, no response. It just shows up, knocks on my door.
It's just confirmed.
So when Charlie worked at this pizza place, John Gino's, really close to the old Hickory House where the podcast and DZ
they're
started.
gonna if you say this out loud, they're gonna like get a lawyer and try to get me to pay for all those pizzas.
Oh, you didn't pay for those pizzas? Who cares? It doesn't
kidding.
matter.
I'm only kidding.
We would text you. Like, we knew that you were delivering pizza, but it was hit or miss if you can, like, bring us one or not for whatever reason. A messed up one.
I don't know why you asked.
But we would always just text you, like, it's just vague, just za, pizza.
Yeah.
Something.
Some shorthand.
Charlie
bullshit.
Special, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And when you would show up with it, oh my God, like, this is the happiest Friday, Saturdays of my life.
I was my dinner.
It was so great. But then there was
gross.
a times where it was oversaturated, where you'd show up at like a Wednesday at like dinner time with it, and I was like, dude, I can't have this on a Wednesday. Yeah. So much pizza. I think that household had more pizza than any household
And,
ever
I mean,
in
it
the
was
history of people.
A frat house for a while, so pizza's often consumed. Yeah, I don't know. The pizza industry is a strange industry. I've basically been in most homes in the southwest suburbs.
In?
Yeah,
People bring you in?
some people bring you in. Some people are like, I'm not going in there.
Why do they bring you in?
It's because it's a legacy
What's
thing.
the nastiest thing you've seen?
Just like hoarders, cat piss. You fucking name it, dude. People are disgusting.
I've seen some nasty stuff before.
You live in here? You poke your head and you're like, you fucking live in here? You need to evacuate, not eat a pizza, bro.
Dude.
I'm keeping this garlic bread.
How many times did you go to deliver and the person, like, no response?
Somewhat.
You keep it?
Yeah.
Just eat it?
If I'm hungry. Yeah.
Got it. There's nothing more nostalgic and beautiful than the food industry with your friends and everyone just, like, hooking each other up and just free food all around.
Yeah, when you're a kid. Yeah, 100%.
Or as an adult.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, it's just so fun. It's like, oh, you work here? Like, when our friend Jake worked at Junior's Hot Dogs in Burbank, and I worked at Subway, and I had a friend at Domino's, another friend at Eddie at John Gino's and Larry, like, we all just, like, hooked each other up. It was so much
currency.
fun.
Yeah.
It was a currency.
When you're a broke teenager and you can trade
So
food.
broke.
Yeah.
So broke.
Hey, dude, pick me up. I'll give you a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to love trading Subway sandwiches for Domino's and then showing up to parties with Domino's pizza. It was great.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
The good old days.
I mean, if it wasn't for working in the pizza industry, I would have never developed the Charlie Special, which is a legacy.
For those listening,
Yeah.
you have to try the Charlie Special.
Yeah, so when you're
Yeah, you come. You're from the source. You tell it.
I'm not gonna give my ingredients. My
What?
my
You're not gonna tell them the
recipe
Charlie
away
Special?
on the internet here, but no.
Tell them.
Well, it's another reason. Like when you innovate, when you're a young, innovative teenager, you innovate in all directions, and sometimes you strike gold. And with this particular
It's so good.
combination, it's
Specifically
we struck gold.
from Fasano's. Like,
Yeah. Okay. I'll give
from
that away.
there,
from
it's
Fasano's. Yeah.
you gotta tell people.
They'll have to come get it themselves.
They don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I remember when Bora Bora ordered it.
Mm-hmm.
They thought it was like
A menu item.
a
You
menu
told me this
item
before.
Yeah. And they were like the Charlie Special, and it's just like what?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, sir.
What is like what's like one of the most bizarre things you've seen in any of the jobs you've done? Not just pizza, but like any of them.
Bizarre things.
Just like I can't believe I just saw this.
I mean, some of the most shocking things were like murder.
Murder.
Yeah, when I was
What?
when I was
Do I
probably
know this
like
story?
20, when I was like 20 and I was doing that scab electrician job on in the South Side. The plumbers 2 buildings over were like murdered and all their stools were like I heard the gunshots and like was 2 apartments over,
Oh my god.
So murder.
Which streets were those?
That was like Emerald and I don't remember, south as fuck.
I think 60 something,
Something around
70
there.
something.
Over there.
It's not that far from here.
Not that far from it. Well, it's
like
you take this neighborhood.
4 miles from here.
Yeah, this 4 miles from here is a completely different neighborhood. Than
Yes, it is.
So-
in like every direction.
That's the most impoverished areas of our city. You know,
Yeah.
so that was scary. Imagine being a 20-year-old high school dropout and people are getting killed for their tools.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you
I'm
know,
gonna change my job.
pretty abysmal at times, and it's been pretty bleak at times too. So but you have to have that.
What was your favorite place you lived?
Favorite place I lived, probably with all of us at the DZ.
Yeah.
You know,
Some crazy times.
my 20s, basically.
Man, that was so crazy.
It was insane. There's no one on earth. Like, you gave that strange statistic earlier. Like, when you file it down, all of us, me too, are like in this small percent of people that exist on the far fringe of society who have seen and experienced the strange and wild things we've done in the southwest suburbs of Chicago. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I had 18 roommates. Was
Yeah.
a music festival every summer, shows every month, sessions every weekend, work and school and grad school and everything during the week.
Right,
Every day, 5 to 10 people
right.
around. I mean, so many people around that even during COVID, our roommate situation alone, I had 6 people guaranteed always around me. Like but the amount of like food sharing, culture, music, traveling, TV shows, conversation, philosophical inquiries,
Yeah.
priceless.
It was its own
Education.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so when you live a life like that, you do mushrooms one time in your life. Live a life like that and then try and button up for some sort of job that feels like bullshit. It's impossible.
It's hard.
So like
Yeah.
the trajectory was always to be something, to do
Yeah.
something. Because the compromise is not worth it. And that's a sad road.
But that kind of life, you can't sustain it. But I'm glad I had it because it's set up. Everything's so easy now.
Sure.
If I had to travel to, Cambodia and sleep in a hut, I'd be like, yeah, I've slept in a hut. I've slept on the ground. This is whatever.
Yeah,
I've heard chaos. Maybe it's a little more dangerous, but other than that, it was pretty, it was madness.
It was the closest thing to like real adventure that existed for us.
Yeah.
And when it was real adventure, honestly, living that way for so many years, still am. It's unavoidable,
Yeah, it's weird now. Sometimes I'm like, this is mundane and boring. Like when I just sit upstairs in like a quiet, clean, peaceful home with my one roommate and we're just sitting there, I'm like, this is it, huh? I'm like, man, it's gonna take me a long time to like settle down.
I know. This year of my life has been the most alone I've ever been in all of my life.
Me too.
I mean,
and I
I'm
have a
alone.
roommate. This is the most alone I've ever been.
Yeah.
I'm 33.
Right.
I feel you.
And it's strange.
How? You want more?
I'm still good, but you could pour it.
Pour in some bourbon here. Not sponsored, although that'd be really cool if it were.
You should get sponsored by some bourbon.
I don't think I have pulled enough viewers and listeners to do that.
Just maybe they might be an early adopter. Reach out to one of these local distilleries.
Ooh, that'd be good. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, what is for those to set this up? We lived together, I don't know, for 7 years.
Mm-hmm. Was it 7 years?
7 years. I don't know, for 7 years. We had a bunch of different roommates for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
18 in total for me. Good amount for you. Plus, it's just tens of thousands of people coming through. When I say that, I don't think people believe me because it sounds ridiculous. But
It does sound ridiculous, but yeah, it's
you were there. It was
tens of thousands
you
of people.
count the bands, the sessions, the intimate evenings, the parties, the random hangouts, the festivals, the podcasts, the pre all that, the cabin in the backyard, the DZ hangouts, just there, those parties alone. You put it all together,
Yeah,
it's tens of thousands.
yeah.
And
I mean, the DZ before DZ Fest was ever even a thing is like
it was bumping.
would have been its own legacy.
Bumping.
Yeah,
That's a hard thing to explain to people. Like, how long have you been doing this? I was like, you want the real truth? Like 18 years?
yeah.
It hasn't been just DZ Records. Like this, been doing this for a while.
Long before that, it was.
I didn't realize it was like a creative, like safe space. I had no idea. That wasn't a terminology yet.
No, it was
But
not.
it was that. When you think about the definition of it, that's what it was.
Yeah,
It was a place where we did a lot of creative stuff for people who didn't feel safe or fit in anywhere to hang out and have a collective community and like belong. That's really what it was. I had no idea.
how could you have known? You were just
I was
acting
a
instinctively.
teenager,
Yeah,
15 years old.
you're just acting on instinct.
Too young to ever know. But so
Turns out you were a pioneer.
yeah, I guess. Pioneer makes great speakers. Thank God I had Pioneer speakers in the
Yeah.
DZ the whole time.
They have flex spaces in high school now.
What?
So like, imagine you don't want to go to class, so you just go hang out in this
So
room with
you
like
would just be flexing all the time.
beanbags and video games and yeah,
Ah,
it's crazy.
I mean, I'm not. That's good. I'm not mad at it.
No, I'm not angry.
I'm happy about it. I'm sad for the many generations that have been just suffering. Like many.
just eating shit day
Just
in day
eating-
out.
Eating shit.
Yeah,
So yeah, we had a high stimulant, like all senses just jacked to the max at that place, at that house. Ridiculous. So to go from all the roommates, all the chaos, the fun stuff, projector, theater room, music room, studio basement, podcast sessions, bands from around the world coming in left and right without any rhyme or reason, shows, making T-shirts, winter festivals, music festivals, bonfires, explosions, burning pianos, treehouse.
what were the two?
The list goes on.
What
So
were
to
the-
go from that
Yeah,
to just living alone, essentially,
oh yeah.
what has that been like the last
It's-
6 months?
Oh, it's been strange at times. It's been really sad, but I love my space because it's a inspiring space, and it's sort of has grown into just be an extension of how we lived before with all of the output.
Yeah, there's
things
just
we
stuff
have.
everywhere to do.
Yeah, we've got it's a studio itself, so that's sort of sentiment you don't ever get to leave behind once you're indoctrinated with that sort of creative space. I think I'll live like that forever. in a fashion of that forever.
Do you feel like that's hurt you or hindered you? 'Cause sometimes
Well,
it's like both.
I don't think it's hindered me. I've tried to like steelman the argument that it's hindered me, but when you look at people who don't have any sort of creative output and they're just sad, stuck, lost people, lost souls, you know that it's not a compromise and it's the only way to live, truly.
Does it affect you with like relationships? Because most people,
Probably.
it does with me. I'm not gonna lie, definitely does. I mean, how could it not? It's like when you live with all your friends, all these guys, some women, but mostly guys,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like you live, and it's not like frat house is a fun hyperbolic thing. It wasn't never that.
No, it was
it
not
was
a frat
too
house.
creative and too productive to be that.
Right.
And I was too on top of stuff all the time. But it sets this crazy chaotic like standard of just whatever you do, whatever you want to do all the time, and to stifle that and like keep it
Yeah.
calm and like okay, no, be chill with this person and like go to dinner dates and be calm. It's like weird. It's like
It probably has affected relationships, honestly, of mine. Like, I've been a chaotic person most of my life. So while
but then
I'm,
again, I wouldn't have it any other way because
No,
it
I wouldn't
has
have it
so
any other way.
much fun. So much fun.
yeah, it's the only way to live is to keep yourself occupied with creative endeavors and
Yeah.
fun things that bring joy. You literally not bring joy. You get to create joy. You get to create
Yeah.
moments with people doing special things all the time. And that is, for some reason, rare in this world. So, of course, it's addictive and desirable.
I always think about, I won't name names, but I think about some of our friends now that are like in more serious relationships. They have their own thing. They have their own apartments, own houses, whatever. I'm
Yeah.
like, do they feel this too? This like,
They must. They must.
just want to like,
Perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps I'm being naive. Maybe we should have been married off and had children some time ago.
We wouldn't have done this stuff we've done. There's no way.
There's virtue in that, of course, but
Well, yeah,
it's
that's
never
its
made
own-
s-
that's its
never
own
made
thing.
sense for me.
Yeah.
Perhaps it.
I respect him. Like, I can't believe people did that at like 25, got a house, got a family, got a kid. I'm like,
It's a different lifestyle. Like I feel like I'm just getting started.
yeah, me too.
You know,
Me
like
too.
so maybe in my 50s it'll be like, okay, yeah, I could probably
We're going to be old like dads, but you know what? Very wise ones.
very wise ones.
Strangely wise, annoyingly wise, like grandpa wise, but like dads, but like grandpa smart, you know?
Yeah.
Not smart, grandpa wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. Yeah. But then there's some, friends, roommates who could not disagree more. And they're just like, happy, just absolutely want to be alone in the chaos. They do not miss it or like it at all.
I
So
never
it really is
agreed.
a personality type.
Yeah, it
to
is a
be
personality
honest. It's a
type.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Whatever.
Sometimes I am truly just sitting there like on a Wednesday, like, be nice. Where is everybody?
Yeah, it'd be nice to just
hang
have
out.
a bullshit conversation about whatever the hell.
It was just fun. Someone comes home from work, like, oh, what's up? Like, we just, I don't know. You
That's-
show up with pizza and just like, all right, cool.
Yeah, and then you just chat for an hour or two.
Listen
you
to
know.
some music.
I don't know. It's strange because adults are stuffy. When you're at work, adults are stuffy, and they're like at work and professionals, and
Yeah.
your guard is up. Not that you have a guard up, but like you're just in a different headspace
Mm-hmm.
than being a goof or a jackass.
Yeah, there was absolute freedom of to just be like truly yourself with like no remorse, no judgment. Most of the time, no one's busting out their phone or record. Like you get to just hide, and
little
be
of
your
that, yeah.
privacy, but like fun.
Mhm.
And the biggest thing I miss the most is creative sharing, like art sharing, film sharing, TV show sharing, music sharing.
Oh, definitely.
Check out this band. I got this. Let's put it on this record. Like, it's only so much when you're with one other person. And you can obviously discover a lot on the internet, but when someone just like, when a friend who you have similar taste and you like what they like, and
Shows
show
you
you
something
stuff,
new.
it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
The camaraderie is fun.
I miss that too, and I feel like that's a big aspiration to work with lots of people and like figure out how to scale that up, like we've observed already. How to just continue to work in that sort of fashion.
Mm-hmm.
But I miss that too. Just
Probably people get families
yeah, probably
because that just fills that.
I mean, it makes sense. I've kind of like had that thought too, like, oh damn, this is why people get married because they get lonely.
Yeah.
And
They have kids, they have wives, they have husbands, they have partners, they have children, and it makes sense. It's just a different. There was
I'm not
none of
a-
that,
Yeah.
responsibility with it.
Right.
It's like you go off to your own rooms, your friends leave, and it's over.
yeah, I don't know. It's strange.
Do you want children?
Maybe I do. Maybe I want one on every continent. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I think that I'll have kids. I think I would be a fine father. I think I'd be a good
I
husband.
think you'd be a very good father.
Yeah, I want to.
I think you made.
I'm a
I think you
romantic.
made all of the good and bad mistakes and choices to know like what you should and shouldn't do.
Yeah, definitely.
You got it all out the system.
I think so. I'm a romantic. A wife would be nice someday, but
Where is she? What's going on?
where is she?
Find her.
I fall in love every day. That's the problem.
Really?
Every single day. It's terrible.
I don't believe that for a second. Now you can really find yourself a wife. You're all honed in.
Well, now it's different. I mean, yeah, it's different now, though. Now it has to be so intentional. It can't just be like, I can't just be like a oozing romantic like I was in my 20s. Like, now it has to be so intentional because the stakes are higher because of our ages. And
Ooze it.
I mean, that's my default. I'm just an oozing romantic no matter what. But, like, that's not so attractive at 30.
A leaky romantic.
Yeah.
Just leaking.
I'm lousy with it, you know?
How so?
What do you mean, how so? I've got a fat ass heart. And I'm romantic as hell. Like, I romanticize everything in life already. So as soon as I have somewhere to, like, place love for a significant other, like, it's all out. It's like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
so. But it has to be so intentional now, which is why it's different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, to just find a new relationship in your 30s is like,
You're 30. Yeah, I guess you could say 30s, but like you just turned 30. Like you're at the very. You know what's funny?
the stakes are higher.
According to
Not to me.
modern stats, you're actually like in the best place today. Like you actually have the most amount of people to like work with and like find out and meet and date at
Sure.
30 as a man in America.
Yeah,
'Cause
statistically.
women are dating up or dating at your age. They're dating the same age or dating up at their younger. Like you're 25 to 32. Like you're right there.
Yeah,
You know.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to divulge all these sorts of things, though, to a new person.
Yeah, that's
sure-
the one thing they don't warn you about. It's a process. It
And
takes a lot
also,
of energy. As
those-
it should. As it's serious.
And the whole app thing is so bad. Not that it's bad, it works.
Do you think that's like fading out?
The app is
Do you
fading
think it's
out.
getting more serious? Like dating apps.
Well, the bug with the apps is like, okay, so there's two groups of people hooking up on those sites, you know.
You can't say literal bug because like digital
No, there's a
apps
bug.
have legit bugs.
Yeah, there's a bug in it. Like the bug in humanity, the way that we're interfacing with
Oh,
those
you know what I'm
apps.
saying though? Like when you're talking about
Yeah, there's a
actual
bug in the
software.
app. Yeah, no, I'm saying there's a bug in the app because only the top 2%, top 1%, no, we'll go top 5% and the bottom 5% are hooking up and fucking on these apps.
Bottom.
And they're
What do you mean bottom?
the bottom 5%.
Bottom of who?
The
Men
bo-
or women? They're
both of
different.
them.
They're not the same.
No. Okay, I'm talking about the whole entire population of people on dating apps, men and women, and whatever the spectrum of gender is that is
But what do you
on the
mean by
dating app.
bottom?
The bottom 5% are hooking up, and the top 5% are hooking up.
But what do you? I don't think the bottom 5 are hooking
They're
up. I think the
hooking up
bottom 5
with-
are having a hard time.
They're hooking up with each other. They're
Oh, you're saying like the ones and the
yeah,
twos? Are
and then the people in the middle, nothing's happening for anybody. So
the bell
that's
curve, baby. It's real.
right.
I would say that like the top. It depends on the sex. It really does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's a complicated one. But I would say that
Not that I'm looking. I'm not even looking. That's just an observation of contemporary.
I'd say that
bullshit.
I'd say that the top 10% of men are the ones that are hooking up, and the rest aren't.
They're banging each other.
They're
dude.
trying.
Bottom 5, top 5.
That's your
Mhm,
guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's complicated. I mean, I've talked to a lot of female friends,
Mm-hmm.
and that have done it, and what they experience. I've even seen like I've got inside the actor studio look,
Yeah.
and what they see and experience and deal with versus what like men do is night and day difference.
Almost
like it's like an exact analogy. It's like analogous to reality.
Oh yeah.
Like a woman pre-internet, pre-dating apps, a woman dealt with people hitting on her in a bar, at a party, at a restaurant, at a gathering, at a show,
Everywhere.
catcalling, and now it's just gone to like people hitting her up on lots of swipes, DMs, all that. They have to like sit there and sift through this wide net that's there, and like again, like deliberately they pick through.
Oh yeah.
Whereas a man is just like hoping, just like they were when they went to a bar, a show, a gallery, a party, catcalling. I'm not saying these things are good or healthy or good or right.
They just
but
were.
they did them.
Yeah.
Shot in the dark. Just like you're swiping it, shot in the dark. And the woman has to go, yes, no, maybe. Like they accept shot in the dark. It happened in reality beforehand, in the real world, and an analogous version of that is the
dating
app
dating
now. It's the
world.
same thing.
Yeah.
Just like maybe. And they're
It's
just
a
like
strange thing. It's so strange.
Yeah.
I much prefer to just. I don't even know if it's like socially acceptable most often now to just say, "Hey, sup."
I think it is. I
think
think
it
it
is as
depends
well.
on the person, where you are, and like the level of bourbon you have. In your
I've never had a
system.
bad experience. Like, if you're sincere and sweet, you'll be fine. I feel.
Yeah, and polite.
Yeah.
And like, since people in general are good at telling if someone's a little and off and
At
that.
a glance, you can tell. Right.
And then I think women are better at it than anybody because of what they deal with.
Yeah.
We'll never comprehend like how good they are at like judging and seeing if somebody is like much better than I think we are. We can't even get into that mind, and so I think that they would know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I personally, I'm fine with the dating apps. I never had like an issue with them,
I don't have an issue with them.
but I also am fortunate to be in a situation where I don't think I'm as easy to like push away, you know, as far as just like what I could at least the credentials I could put on there, you know,
Okay. Yeah.
right off the bat.
The vetting process.
Yeah, because like it's gonna be off looks, but it's gonna be off other stuff too.
Right.
You know, they're gonna be like, oh, school, work, height, weight,
Mm-hmm. The whole gamut. Yeah.
hobbies, music, all of that jazz. I guess I don't know. I have no idea what they're looking at.
In theory.
Yeah, it's just a guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, the app thing's weird.
It's a strange thing. I don't know. It's just a strange thing that people have come up with. I don't know. The whole digital world, the whole digital
like,
space. Yesterday, I went to the DuSable Museum.
The where?
DuSable Museum.
What's that?
It's a museum on the south side, African American culture in Chicago.
Okay.
They had VR as part of the exhibit of Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech. I watched the I Have a Dream speech in VR.
Whoa.
I was shaking. I had chills.
Whoa.
It was amazing.
Wow, that's intense.
So you get these amazing things that technology is doing.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
The directions it gets
I
pulled.
mean, we're doing it right now.
We're doing it right
we
now.
Have, we have this nice HD camera. We have these nice high quality mics. We have nice LED lights that are not hot and quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you remember the old big lights? Like, not only were they hot
Mm-hmm.
and used a lot of power, they had a sound to them.
Yeah, they hummed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, these bastards are silent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah. That exhibit, I recommend everyone see it, though. It was
What's the
amazing.
address? Where is it?
The DuSable Museum in Chicago on it's on MLK Boulevard, I believe, just south. Just go due south.
What's that?
You'll run right into it.
300 East.
I can look it up, but you
what?
could just look it up yourself if you're
Okay.
listening to this.
Okay.
It's really cool, really good exhibit. Some great painters, some great Chicago painters. Some of the World War One
It's the
history. World War One history. Connecting to America, Chicago specifically, and just a cool exhibit. Another cool museum the city has. Yeah, fun.
Chicago's got amazing museums.
Yeah,
So many. Like little ones, big ones, the Swedish one, the Polish one, the Mexican one. Like, great museums. Like,
amazing city for culture we have here. You know,
I know. How do you feel about the Great Lake?
I'm into it.
Do you think it's an inland sea or do you think it's an actual lake?
I mean, it's a lake by default. I
Well,
believe.
so do you think it's an inland sea that's saltless?
You think that it should be reclassified as an inland sea
Well,
because
okay,
of the
so we've
whole
both been
size?
to a lot of lakes.
It's a
I grew up on a lake.
yeah.
There's lakes everywhere. We know what a lake looks like. This looks like an ocean.
It looks like an ocean. Yeah, yeah.
You
it
go to
does.
Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, Canada, anywhere, Ohio, Pennsylvania, anywhere by Erie, Huron, Ontario, Superior, and Michigan, and you're like, they're too big for lakes. They have their own tides. The moon affects them. They have their own flow. They change weather. Like
Do you think does giving them some sort of other classification like change them?
inland
somehow?
sea that are inland.
Does it help with the
saltless sea.
erosion? Does it
I
help
mean,
with
we
the
have the
erosion?
Black Sea, you have the Mediterranean Sea. It's a sea without salt.
Yeah.
They're too big. They're hundreds of feet deep.
The Michigan
they
Inland
change
Sea.
like climate and weather and like situations. Like the weather here and the weather in Bloomington Normal, where I go down to ISU, is night and day difference. There'll be 15-degree differences with like one is sunshine, one is snow, one is rain, one is high wind, one like
Well, it's like 90 miles south.
it's 130.
130 miles south.
But like that's not that far of a distance. It's not even a degree in latitude.
Yeah, it's enough though. The lake does affect the immediate. It
It
can affect
changes
it from
everything.
where we're sitting to.
Hickory Hills.
Yeah.
Even the old house, it was different weather from Chicago weather. Very
Yeah.
different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love flying. I hate it, but I love it. It's so terrifying when it's so fascinating. Flying back, on the last time I came back from Mexico, I flew directly over the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower for those noobs. I felt like I was 100 feet above it. It was like right over it. I was just looking up my window, looking down at it like, whoa.
Why did you come at it from that direction?
So
To a circle?
most O'Hare flights, they do this like west to east thing, and they go over the lake and they turn around and then they're north, probably like where like Edgewater, Rogers Park, Evanston is.
Just over
They're
there.
that far north and they land in O'Hare. They come down that way. Midway comes from a couple different directions, but that's
Okay.
what anytime I've done O'Hare, which has been a few times now, that's the way they've done it. You like go over Chicago and you go that way, except for when I came from New York City.
I was just gonna say when I came from New York.
From
I
the
think,
east, you just come in from the east. But anything south or west, you go over and then turn back around. Like you do this little U-turn and go back around. But flying directly over the building. Obviously, it was probably a couple thousand feet up, but it felt so close. And it was so cool looking. It's
I
really
bet.
cool. I love flying into Chicago and like trying to make sense. We flew past the old forest preserves by LaGrange, and I like saw the LaGrange as it wind by like 103rd.
Yeah.
You just see it, and you're like making sense of the whole grid and like where you are. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's so
You're
trippy.
recognizing places from
Yeah.
the. I saw someone
It's so trippy to see it.
in their car
No, you did
on
not.
Cicero,
Stop.
and I'm
You
like,
knew?
"Whoa!" I think I saw Jake in his car. I swear, I'm having a flashback of a memory.
Keep
here.
talking. I have to pee.
I think I have having a
You tell
flashback of
story,
a
I'll be back
memory.
in a second.
All right, I'm going to tell a story about when I was flying home from Florida. I don't remember precisely. Hey, Ben, bring me some water, please. Yeah. Ben's going to bring me some water really quick, and I'm going to continue to speak into the microphone.
So you gotta carry the conversation.
I'll be fine. I'll carry this conversation. I've been doing it already. Man, if there was an instrument nearby, I'd play a song. But there isn't, alas. So this is fun. Talking to Ben's fun. Guy talks a lot. Yeah. So I'll tell you about this workshop you're not going to hear about or see because this is going to come out later this Saturday at the Green Hills Library. I'm teaching a contemporary art survey. We're going to make some cool multimedia projects, and I'm going to talk about why art's cool. I'm also going to explain what knowledge is and give you a strategy to get some, as well as some cool other history anecdotes about what brought us to this sort of way of expression through the visual arts in contemporary society. And, perhaps a joke or two. Sometimes I have. That's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. I got a little bit of work to do about it, though. And Other cool things. Do check out the videos. Hey, Ben.
How was your storytelling abilities?
It was good. I just chilled.
I'm back.
All right.
Yeah, flying is so fascinating. I love it, but it's so freaky.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going 550 miles an hour in this tube at 35,000 feet.
Yeah.
And it's...
I like looking up the specs of the airplane once I like look at the ticket the day of. You know, you're sitting there, you're reading like, this is a Boeing, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
There was I was watching I forgot what the documentary was, but that was the day that Sully landed that plane on the Hudson River.
Mm-hmm.
There was someone getting into an airplane in this documentary, the same one, and it had happened that morning. It was just really cool. I forget what it was about though. Might have
That's
been
a crazy situation that happened.
Landed on
Flying
the river.
like out of LaGuardia, I deliberately made myself watch like the whole movie, leaving LaGuardia in New York last time I was there. And I watched it. I was like looking down where it happened as I was watching. Like, this is crazy. And all it takes is hitting some damn seagulls.
Yeah,
Just hit
seagull
some
will take
birds.
you out. Yeah.
Birds take you out. You'd
Yeah.
think there'd be a fail-safe for that. Because like, how often do you find yourself hitting birds as an airplane? Probably a lot.
It's probably not very rare.
The weirdest thing I noticed when I was flying back from Mexico over like Galveston, Texas, by Houston, going past Houston.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird, like leaving Mexico, going over the ocean, then going back to Texas. You could tell where you are without even knowing. Was how many airplanes I saw in the sky. I never really noticed that. I saw like 7 airplanes in the sky while flying. Like just they were probably miles away. You know, when you're in the sky and something's flashing, it could be 20 miles away.
Yeah.
But like just the fact I could see them, it must have been a clear night. But it was cool to see them. Yeah, I don't know. Aviation's crazy. It feels impossible and very futuristic to just get in this little vacuum and just go like
Science and engineering.
800
is
miles in
insane.
an hour and 40 minutes.
Mhm.
Like I drove to New York City. It is far. I've driven to Dallas, Fort Worth, 1,000 miles. It's far. It's 14 hours nonstop, chaotic driving like how I drive alone. You get there in 2 hours. I've driven to Fort Myers in Miami. It's 1,300 miles. It's just like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's crazy to do it. It's much faster.
So much faster.
Yeah, I don't know. I like both. I think flying and driving. I like road trips and I like flying. They're both cool in their different ways.
They are. I think I prefer to drive over land. I like flying for the convenience, but
At a certain distance, flying's better. Like I'm right there with you. I've done too many road trips, and I love the driving, the art of it, the music, the podcast, the playlist, the food, the people, the random things you see. The open road where you can go 120. Oops, and
oops.
oops, I didn't
Yeah.
say that. But then, hey, I need to get to Fort Myers. It's 1,300 miles away. Oh, I'll be there in 2.5 hours.
Right.
It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
No, it's super cool. And yeah, aviation engineering is insane. I love learning about it too, and reading about it.
I want to fly so bad. My goal is to have a pilot's license.
You should get a pilot's
someday.
license.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I know a
Helicopter?
guy. I know.
What
So
would you do?
pros and cons to both. I like both. I'm leaning more towards airplane because I want to actually be able to utilize it.
You could utilize a helicopter? What are you talking about?
No, no,
dude?
no. So like, say you want to fly to Nashville. You can't take a helicopter.
You have to stop in Indianapolis.
You can't do it.
You don't think so?
Helicopters, short range, maybe, I don't know, probably under 200 miles.
Okay, perhaps.
That's just what it's designed for. It's not a thing where you go 500, 600, 700, 800, 1,000 miles. I want to go to New York. I could fly. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
So you would be a
And it's faster.
single
You
engine.
can't go as fast in a helicopter. You go 120 to 180 miles an hour max.
Yeah.
You can go
What kind of plane would you fly?
single engine. You can still probably go 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You know, and then eventually you get to a jet. You're going 200 to 600 miles an hour. So I think single engine or couple engine jet would be cool. But yeah, it'd be fun to be a pilot someday. I would love to be able to do it. It's just, unless it's your career, it's a wealthy person's lifestyle. Like you're doing it for like a hobby.
Yeah.
Because it's going to cost you 15, 20 grand just to do it. And you got to pay so much just to test and fly out and stuff.
And then you gotta have stake in an airplane or something.
Yeah, or rent it out, whatever. It's not cheap. So, but it'd be fun to do someday. I'm gonna fly to Green Bay. You know, I don't know why Green Bay, but whatever.
Yeah. The person who purchased Larry's motorcycle flew from like O'Hare to that airport in Champaign
In
there
Champaign, yeah.
to pick up the title for his motorcycle. That was funny. Wealthy people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's wealthy people stuff. I fly. I just fly around. It's cool. I want an airplane, a single engine that has like the pontoons that land on water.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you can moonlight as a bushwhack. Or a
I grew up
bushcraft.
seeing that the little boat and cottage we had in Indiana. There was always this doctor. I think he was a doctor, and he flew an airplane. He had one where the pontoons. I used to watch him my whole life land. He still does it. Land on the water, turn the boat around, park on land. It was so cool. He still does it to this day. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
Been doing it forever, and I've always seen it. And I'm like, man, I want to do that.
That's
It's
cool.
But he's wealthy. He's got a tennis court in his backyard and stuff. So.
He's a doctor, right?
He's a doctor. Yeah.
There you go. Doctors have those things. Especially
Some
when they're
do.
old. When they're old.
Yeah.
By the time he's in his 60s or 70s, he should have.
Could you imagine being a doctor?
No, most certainly not.
Like a serious doctor. One's got to tell people like, yeah, the person died.
No, fuck that. So very much. I'm glad they exist, but I would never.
How often have you interacted with a doctor?
Seldom.
I don't mean
Very
like I went for a
seldom.
checkup. I mean like a emergency room doctor, like in the hospital,
I've been in the hospital to see a doctor?
or with people or whatever. Just
I don't
whatever.
know that I've hung out with many doctors. I know a fair amount of nurses
Yeah.
as a different profession, but they're different people. Like I'm interested in anatomy and how the body works and things, but like I'm not cutting anybody open. I'm not trying to figure out
No.
how to prescribe
No.
something to someone. I don't have any desire to do that. My own anatomy is enough. Like those people are sick.
I know when I hear like our friends like Mark and Amy talk about that stuff, I'm like, dude, you guys are screws loose, man.
Yeah, just like
They're like numb about
they'll
it.
just describe like horrific traumas.
I know, and like she's now like a friend of ours. She's like a surgical nurse, like in surgeries. And like I was talking to
Yeah.
her partner about it the other day, and he was just like, man, the stuff she sees and talks about. I'm like, Jesus Christ, no, thank you.
You know what?
I'm grateful for it.
I would
We
like
need
to
them.
watch.
Take me out.
Out of morbid curiosity, I would like to watch like a heart transplant.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Just like see it happen. It's like a mechanic under the hood there. Let's see what's up. That would be interesting. Yeah, super interesting.
Mechanics and surgeons have a lot in common, huh?
Different mechanisms. But like, you know what I mean? Like, let's open this thing up. Let's take a peek.
Do you ever miss working on your car in a garage and all that jazz, all that mechanical stuff? You can't do that anymore. Not really.
I mean, yeah, that's a passion that I don't have a hand in right now that I miss tremendously.
Yeah.
But I'll get back to that eventually. That stuff's always going to be there.
God, the garage.
Yeah.
What is it about a garage that like attracts people? And strangely, men just more than likely get just like
It's,
the garage. You like linger. Like one of the biggest things I miss about our old house was like hanging out in the garage.
Yeah.
Like, around
It's a
bikes
place
and
of
cars.
It's a place of discovery, you know?
We hung out in that garage a lot.
That's what garages are designed for. They're multi-purpose. You get to work on things, take things apart, build things. It's a studio. It's a mechanic shop. It's a place for everything, you know?
Would you one day like separate your studio? Like, would you keep it in the house, put in a garage, its own thing? Like, what's your ideal situation with a studio?
I mean, I have lots of tools that I don't get to utilize because of the space I'm in at the moment. So ideally, to do everything that I like to do, making sculpture and painting, like I would have a dedicated space for certain tools, power tools, table saw, miter saw, welding equipment, all of those sorts of things, you know, that need a place to live when you want to be involved in all sorts of different tasks and projects. So ideally, I would have a space for both, you know, like every task would have its own dedicated space. This is the painting area. This is the sculpture area. This is the welding area. This is the laser cutter area. This is the leathercraft area. This is the
laser cutter.
Yeah, you know, like I want everything. This is the photography area. This is the video area.
I feel you. Like a dark room?
Just even like just like a.
But like,
A
would you eventually
photo
want to do a
studio.
dark room?
I don't know that I like film photography and I've done plenty of it. I don't know that I like care to collect all that equipment and gear.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so many things you can be and do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll continue to shoot it, but I don't really want to have that sort of gear. I don't desire it. But you know, like a seamless drop where you can do photo things and
You kind of
video.
have that already, right?
I have that already. Yeah. So I'm for the time being, I'm away from like the mechanical sort of output, and it's more of the video, audio, painting, sculpture stuff that I'm doing more now than ever. But eventually I'll return. There's a motorcycle on my block that I peeped already that I'm gonna offer to buy. I think
my God, Charlie.
it's a really cool little Yamaha.
I thought we were past the motorcycle phase.
No,
Can we talk about the motorcycle phase?
Sure, let's talk about the motorcycle.
Can we talk about the time that
It's the most dangerous thing that regular people do.
it's stupid?
Well,
You would know.
There's
You got some fun scars.
It requires a tremendous amount of respect.
Give me that
It requires a tremendous amount of
June 2020.
respect,
We're going there.
and it requires
In June of 2020, we're hanging out.
sure, yeah,
Thought we were going to barbecue. I can't find my friends.
yeah.
They never came back from the store. Where are my friends at? I go in a garage. They're covered in blood. Shaking. Panicking. Frantic. Charlie and Brian are covered in blood. Because they fell off a motorcycle going like 60 miles an hour with no padding or anything. No helmets.
I had a helmet.
You had helmets.
I took a brand new helmet out of the box.
Thank God for those helmets. You know why I say thank God for the helmets? When I looked at those helmets and what happened to them,
Yeah.
I thought of your faces being
No,
plastered
it was
on
scary.
concrete.
It was scary, and I was unfamiliar with the machine, and it was a silly mistake.
It was so scary.
However, the sort of peace that comes from riding a motorcycle is indescribable.
I bet.
It's indescribable. Because I have an affinity and I romanticize
When's the last time you rode one?
the summer.
The one you and your brother shared?
Yeah, in the summertime. The affinity that I have for like, mechanical devices and mechanics in general, like all comes together. Like you maintain this machine, you take care of it. It exists as every nut and bolt, its nuances, and you can use it to travel and you can use it to feel alive. It clears your mind tremendously. When you're riding at 100 miles an hour and every decision you make matters, like there's nothing like it in the world. There's nothing like it in the world.
Yeah. I've only ever been on it once with Brian, and he went like 80 on his Yamaha, that blue one, the old one, the OG one.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. And I held on. He's like, no one's ever held on to me that tight before. I mean, I grabbed him with all of my might.
When you don't understand what those things are capable of and you're just kind of like tossed into it, it can be scary.
It was terrifying.
Like he is anticipating it. He knows that machine well. And
Not back then. Back then it was new. Back then, the blue one, it was like May 2020. He had it for like a month or two.
yeah, that's sketchy.
Yeah, and he was going 80 on 85th Court. This is a side road. Like, this is like a neighborhood road.
Yeah, they possess a tremendous amount of power.
That one in particular, per se.
That was a
Well, could that do like 180?
probably that was a Yamaha FZ1,
How many cc's?
1,000,
Oh,
just over 1,000 cc's.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What's the horsepower, you think? 400?
No, not that high. Maybe like 180.
That's it? It's small.
Yeah, 150, something like that.
Mm.
Remember the do you remember that Honda CB100 I had?
Mm-hmm.
That had 9 horsepower. The little red one I had
Yeah.
Yeah.
9?
was a little 100 cc
Wow.
motor. Yeah,
Horsepower is different for bikes than his cars.
tremendously. It doesn't necessarily like
Yeah.
scale 1-to-1.
No. The weight. Yeah.
My Ford Ranger had 94 horsepower.
Wait, the one that you, the Carp?
The Carp 100 probably had slightly more.
How many cars? You were a man of indulgence.
No,
Like, you've had so many cars. You've had so many lives, jobs, ideas. Like, you just...
you gotta live a lot.
What do you mean, no?
You want to be
You said
alive a while, you
no.
gotta live a lot.
You said no, like, as if I'm completely wrong. It's like, I don't
I've had
know.
a few. I mean, I've had a few more than most probably, but also like lots of them were just shitty cars that I ran for a year or a summer and sold. For
You've
more
had
money.
more cars than most, and same with Larry. Like, you two have had more cars than the average person. By
Well,
far.
I mean, I like cars. I like mechanics. You do too. You just have never.
I do. I can't wait. Like, the next car I buy, I can't wait to race cars. I mean, I want to drive. I want to be able to have fast cars and drive on like a racetrack. I really do.
Yeah.
I want to learn manual. I want to go fast.
Mm-hmm.
I have a speeding problem. I relate to that thrill. I just remove myself to a 4-wheel thing that's more protected.
I get it. It's not for everyone.
Significantly
I would
more
never
protected.
try to convince someone who doesn't want to ride a motorcycle to ride a motorcycle.
Like I want to live that thrill-seeking life in a more safe manner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to be on a racetrack with a roll cage and a 5-point harness and like safety features and an intercom talking to someone like, but going like 180 miles an hour. You know, that's why I like F1 so much.
Yeah.
You know, the race yesterday was nuts in Australia. There's 8 cars got retired and crashed. 8. It was the most I've ever seen.
That's crazy.
It was nuts. Sergio Perez climbed from 20th place to 5th place. Almost unheard of. It was a good race. Very good race. But it had 3 restarts, a couple red flags, virtual car restarts. It was nuts. But I love it.
Yeah, racing is
They go 207 miles an hour, then go drop down to 50 in 1 second while they turn.
I mean, it's in our blood. It's in like we're engineers and
It's
we innovate.
survival. Yeah.
It's just fun. It's just so much fun.
We got to go to an F1 race.
Get this whiskey company to sponsor it, dude.
Woodford. Oops.
Don't say their name.
Have you traveled abroad?
No, I haven't. That'll be next summer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go to Tokyo
Tokyo.
and South Korea with me?
Yeah,
Danny?
sure.
Danny and I are going to go.
I was going to go to
Thailand.
Thailand with Danny.
Oh, Danny. Danny's just making all these promises. Danny, I'm going to call him out.
I'd go to Tokyo.
Our goal is to go to film there. So
Mhm. Tokyo is cool. Tokyo's on my list as well. But I want to go everywhere. I want to go everywhere.
use an assistant regional manager.
Yeah.
Actually, what you can do there is you can do photography.
I could do photo. When is
Danny
the
films me. I do this production. You use the photography. Yeah.
I'm also I could be a second shooter too. Like on I guess there would be 3 of us. I don't know if that might be overkill.
Well,
when
he's gonna he'd film me doing my thing. Like
Oh.
he's for the series. Like he's filming the process.
I would
Documenting.
Right. Sure. I would just shoot my own documentary, my own B-roll.
Yeah,
'cause
be
I'd
part of it.
there. Yeah. But when is the Tokyo Art Biennale? We should go during then.
I don't know.
I don't know when.
I gotta
it
get
is
a
either.
translator for Japan. Well, so I have one because I guess a lot of people in Tokyo don't speak English as much as you would think.
Okay, that's okay.
But it's cool. I got a person who's willing to go. So yeah, we got to do that. That'd be
Tokyo has a really cool, like, punk rock and also like a hot rod culture.
Really?
They're like stuck in the 50s in a way. Like they have
How?
a huge
Why did
hot
they
rod
get
culture.
one?
Well, they're amazing and
us?
they're amazing engineers for one.
Well, yeah,
They've
Honda and
been-
Toyota. Come on.
They've been building amazing machines for a century now, and just like us, they've like developed a hot rod scene. Like
But didn't
regular
we
people.
develop one because of bootlegging?
I mean, it's their own. You're thinking of NASCAR, but like
No,
hot.
like hot riding cars was like souping up cars because of getting away from like police.
Yeah,
like,
that's-
in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, and that's like what NASCAR became.
Okay.
But just like us in America, as soon as their country had the resources to, the average person can have a car. Like a hot rod culture developed. It's their own
Okay.
thing. It's their whole.
Okay.
It's all their own, really.
Separate, yeah.
I mean, some of it resembles like 50s car culture here, but it's their own thing. It's all, some of it's like hodgepodged American, Japanese parts and things. Like they love Harley Davidson over there. You know, it's like young people love Harley
Japanese
Davidson over
cars
there.
are so good.
Yeah, they are. Like that's probably a large portion of their sales nowadays is young Japanese men, whereas here in America it's like 70-year-old men. They're all dying. So Harley's like kind of like pushing.
Really?
Yeah.
But they have the fatality stats and the injury stats, don't they?
What do you mean over there with motorcycles?
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
The reason why motorcycles have fallen off in America is we have 80 years of data now.
I just feel like it's not that. I don't think it's the data. I think it's the culture.
But like they revolve around each other. We
Yeah.
now know like they're
Sure.
so dangerous.
Think about people that ride
Why?
a motorcycle around here, though. It's all old people, like old people, like
Yeah, but it's because
you
the
know,
numbers came out and we're like, it's the same thing why cigarettes fell off. Like we were like, wait a minute, why
I
are
think
we?
they're different. I think they're different. One is, I mean, cigarettes. I don't know.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Perhaps
once,
they're synonymous, but
in America, once health facts come out, and except for when it comes to food and diabetes and heart disease, people tend to be like, wait a minute, why are we doing that?
well,
I
that's
guess
what I
it's
mean.
selective. Yeah,
That's what I mean when I say it's the most dangerous thing that regular people do. Like, not lots of people do it, and most of the culture is like in their 60s or 70s or older. Or Otherwise, it's everyone else on the fringe of society. Like, there's still like that strange connotation of the outlaw, the bandit that rides a motorcycle. So when you think of people that you know or you've observed riding motorcycles, some of them are like shitty people, you know? There isn't like a large culture of 20-something, 30-something, 40-something year olds like buying new motorcycles and riding new motorcycles because there's plenty of them in the market now. And if you want one, you probably buy a used one because it's silly to spend $25,000 on a motorcycle or something brand new. And so it's aging out here, but for whatever reason in Japan, it's like growing.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know.
Cars and racing in Japan and South Korea is a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I would love to go to a race there.
There's this Honda just made this new motorcycle, a Honda CB650R. It's modeled after a track bike from the late 80s. It's a 4-cylinder, 650cc, but it revs out to 20,000 RPMs. So it revs really high. There's lots of room in the gears. Sort of like taking older technology and just making it perfect. Like if they had an unlimited budget in 1995, what they should have done. It's a really cool motorcycle. Yeah. So
do you
they're
think
still
motorcycles
innovating.
aren't going to die?
I don't think they're going to die.
Not just in America, but somewhere else. They'll be
I don't
okay.
even know if they'll go away in America. Yeah, they'll go away in America.
Dude,
Kids don't even desire to drive nowadays.
They are the prominent source of transportation in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say prominent, but they're highly sought after. Like so many because of the traffic. The cars are so bad. The motorcyclists just went. And
I
weaved
feel like
between
that's other
everybody.
places as well.
They went between everybody, but because they don't have any regulation or safety regulations, they're just families on dirt bikes and motorcycles with no helmets or anything.
I feel like it's that way in a lot of places in Asia. And
Yeah,
in
yeah.
India, Africa. Like motorcycles are probably make up a fair portion of how people commute in
Well, it's
all over the globe.
cheaper, better gas mileage, easier to store, easier to maintain, less traffic, and you can kind of like you can go on sidewalk, you can go off paths, like especially with a dirt bike.
Utilitarian.
I would do one if I was in a rural area. I would do one. In Chicago, it's so dangerous. Chicago driving is nuts.
Yeah.
That's the thing that was crazy is Mexico City driving is 10 times crazier than Chicago. Yet there are so many motorcyclists. That's why I was like,
I would love
these kids are crazy.
to ride a motorcycle there. I'd love to ride
Charlie
a
would
motorcycle
die.
there.
Driving there, you have to like grow up there driving, otherwise you're screwed. It's a beast. It's like
Did you drive?
no, Ubered everywhere. I Ubered like no other. Ubers were like $3 to $5, like 30. Oh, we have to go like 40 minutes to like the north end of the Mexico City. Okay, it's like $6 for the Uber. Uber XL with like 6 people in it. So
Crazy.
cheap.
Crazy.
So unbelievably cheap, but the motorcyclists were nuts. I mean, I have videos on videos. It'll be in my final documentary video of it, but it was crazy and very dangerous. No helmets, no protection, no laws, no rules. If you ever made yourself in a car at the beginning of the front of like where the red light is, like you're sitting and waiting for red light, there'd be like 15, 18, 20 motorcyclists in front of you because they all, made it through. So they all stock up. So everywhere you look, there's just motorcyclists waiting for the next one. And it
Sounds fun.
It was
Sounds
so much fun. I didn't want to come back home, to be
I bet.
honest.
It
I
sounds
had
like an
too much
adventure.
fun. It was,
Call to adventure.
I don't know, how am I supposed to like grow up?
I don't think you're gonna ever.
Like, I don't know how do you like be at home with like a family when you can do these things. It was so much fun. I have too much fun when I travel where I'm like, I don't want to do anything else. This is so much fun.
I don't think you have
Such
to
an
do it.
adventure.
Yeah.
Like a real adventure. Just pure chaos. Like no rules. Just whatever you can do.
You'll have the flip someday. Your brain will flip.
It's slowly flipping, but then I do those things. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Have you had the paradigm shift yet in your brain where like, but not before, but in this point in your life, are you still living like away from your birth? Or are you living towards your death?
Still away from my birth. Yeah. I don't think I'll get towards my death until about like mid 40s or mid 50s, probably. Yeah.
Interesting.
I plan on living a long life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm physically aware and physically trying to be healthy, and then mentally healthy, and then emotionally. I think if you do all of them, you can live as long as you can live.
Yeah.
I'd say it's soon though. What I have felt is the beginning stages. It's hard to say. I'll probably know more when I'm in my 40s, but beginning stages and the latter end of like full human, like physical endurance and strength. It's a like
You think you're at the latter end of it?
It's like the beginning stages of it.
Oh, well,
So I
yeah.
think for men on average, it is like mid to late 30s is like the strongest you can ever be.
Mm-hmm.
And the most capable you can be. And I could start to feel it because when I think of what I was able to do and what I did in my 20s, it's like night and day difference. But I'm more mindful. I don't do as dangerous of activities. I'm more careful. I exercise in a clean way. I walk a lot. So I do it in a clean way. It's just different. But I think it also shifts mentally, like my priorities. Like I don't need to stay up late anymore. I don't need to prove anything. I want to get good sleep. I never sought sleep in like healthcare and like mental health before. Now I do. So it's hard to say which one is taking hold, but I'm more clear of who I am and what I want to do, and I'm very comfortable with what I am. And no competition. I'm doing literally my own thing. I say it with confidence and not with arrogance that I'm the only one doing what I'm doing. Like I'm just doing my own thing. I have no competition. I'm not worried about it. I'm not trying to outdo somebody. No one's doing what I'm doing, so it's like it's fine. It's okay. It's not a boast. It's just like this is what it is. So it's nice. It's peaceful knowing like I'm just living my own life and I have nothing to compete with, which
That's peaceful.
is very peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's virtue in that too.
Yeah.
That's rare. That's rare air.
Yeah, it is rare because I see a lot of people, a lot of men, specifically men,
Not satisfied.
not satisfied. They're like, this competition, this flexing. I got this much money. I do this. It's like, dude,
That shit's fake as hell.
yeah, come on now. If you don't know by this age, by 33, it's like, I don't know, you're a lost cause. I don't have that. I'm like, I have nothing to prove to anyone. I just do my own thing. It's not good or bad. It's just I do what Ben wants to do.
Yeah.
And I have fun with it. So it's like no competition, no rules, no worries, no expectations. So, I got the part of my life over with that had expectations. High school, bachelor's, master's, job, friends, like that stuff's it's all there. It's all it's all just growing from there. It doesn't. I'm beyond that now. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
I feel the same.
Yeah.
I exist on the fringe of society. Like, it's good company over here, though,
Yeah, in a way you do, but then now finishing school and getting a job, it's like you, in one element, one part of you exist in the fringe, because I know exactly what you're saying. And the other part you, like, fit right into. Like, you're right into the equation.
No, you're still way far on the one end of it. Like, perhaps you can have a foot in the realm of professionalism and, like, white-collar
Who's
stuff.
you? You? Me?
Me.
You said
Me.
you.
Me. You being the world. You being me personified as everyone.
You being me, being the world, being us, being you,
Yeah.
being I.
You can have one foot in it, but, like, I don't know. I definitely, you probably feel this way too. Like, seldom will you compromise if it's for something of a worse off situation. I won't compromise if it makes things worse in any sort of
No
format
more
or
compromise.
situation.
Yeah, none.
So that pushes you into one direction in one camp immediately in the professional world. The fact that you are sincere and try hard and like are not looking for like transactional things, that pushes you again, but I think I'm speaking for you as well.
Wait, what? You were...
I'm speaking about me.
Is anybody else listening confused about the you that he's talking about? You talking about
I'm saying
Ben?
you. I'm talking about
Are
the
you about-
royal you, like how
The
my
general you?
my idealized version. But I'm speaking of myself.
Okay.
So like you that pushes you further once more into this other smaller camp. So the camps just keep getting smaller and smaller. About like, I don't know, when you're unwilling to compromise your integrity, and you are sincere in your efforts, like, people aren't like that.
No.
They're not like
Not
that.
many.
Lots of them are pushovers and will cave or change their mind or bend over if something doesn't make sense, or they won't put the hard work in to do something better or change it.
Mm-hmm.
So the camp of people, it just keeps getting smaller and smaller into which you fit in. So you, me,
I owe you.
until which I feel I'm fitting, but I think I'm speaking for you too. I don't know, like, because just I know you well.
I mean, I don't know how to
Especially
say
as
it,
you
but
age, especially as you age, like
it's gotten better with age.
no, I'm saying as you age, you get further away. Still, I feel.
Oh no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's
Yeah.
gotten. Okay, so let me rephrase this.
Yeah,
Let me clarify it rather. By saying it's gotten better with ages, I've gone further with it. What you're saying.
Oh yeah, you go further.
I'm
lean
so
further.
far
Yeah,
removed with age, but it's also a product of like what I've been doing. It's compounded. It's been built upon. I now get to be very specific with who I am and what I want to do.
right.
I don't have to respond to things. I don't have to say yes to things. I say yes when I want to. I can clarify things. I can have important meetings. I can go to a different country and it all works out with what I want to do. It's like, it's crazy.
Right.
But it's because I keep pushing it and doing what I want to do,
Yeah.
not compromising, not apologizing. But it took forever. I mean, I've kind of been living this way since puberty. Pre-pubescent humans it's a different headspace. It's a different thinking. I've always been a little like that, but like, you have your family. Like, I don't know what money is when you're 12. But as soon as I started like junior high, high school, like puberty, getting work, talking to people, meeting people outside of my world, I've never looked back. It's always been this extreme forward moving momentum that has transcended like a million different things, like everything from music to comedy to festivals to sessions to podcasts to education, jobs, relationships, friends, colleagues. I mean, it's kind of amazing. And the biggest thing is I feel bad for those who don't live a life where they just get to be themselves and do their thing.
That's what
Because I don't know how to not do that.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm not that, I feel sick.
Right.
I feel sad.
That's what I mean. Yes.
I feel gross. So like, and again, I have to reiterate it because it can come off a little whatever, pompous, arrogant, whatever, elitist. But it's like I encourage people who are listening to like just lean into who you are, just like lean into it. You'll get criticized here and there, but like being criticized is a language you have to become very familiar and fluent with. It's not going to go away. And become a master of that language.
Mm-hmm.
So I embrace it. It doesn't bother me.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, or that should be troublesome, because the alternative is like defeat.
Oh,
You know.
I couldn't do it. When I tried to fit in those boxes, I very few times in my life I've been like absolutely depressed or suicidal, and it was only those times.
Mm-hmm.
Like fit in the box, like do the thing that the man says. It's like,
Yeah.
it just felt like anti-gravity. It just felt like unnatural. It felt like the opposite of everything that is my being, And then all the moments I get to just be, I feel alive. I feel in the moment. It just feels good.
Yeah, those are the best. That's why the work, that's why when the work pays off. That's when the work pays off.
When the work pays off.
A
A new memoir by Charlie Henry Lunsford.
turns out the reward for good work is better work.
Been saying that forever.
It's how it was sort of an epiphany, because like you're describing when you got to go to work for the man. You know? It's like you got to eat shit for the however long at this job or this role and do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You eat shit long enough and well enough, then eventually,
Use chopsticks when you eat shit.
if you need to, if the work calls for it, eventually the hard work turns into better work. You get more decisive. You get to be more selective, and that I feel like you're describing will continue to compound. Hopefully for both of us.
Yeah. I hope. I mean, I certainly can't go back.
There's no going back.
There's no going back. This train has been moving.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you do differently?
Anything I would do differently?
Yeah.
I would try and convince myself to, so how many days do you think I've been alive? Like,
Well, you're 30 years, 30 times 365. We got 3. We got, what would that be? 9,065 times 30. We got 1,800. So 10,080, and then 10,800, and then the 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
365. So 5 times 30 is 180. So would it be 11,000? I'm too drunk for this right now. 10,800.
Give me a round number.
11,160.
So it's called 12,000
I
days.
don't know. I think I'm too drunk for this.
Well, in 12,000 days, how much of that time is...
my 11,160? What I said?
Yeah. So if you're asking me what I have done,
I was off by like 200.
what'd you get? 10,950. So 11,000 days.
Oh, but I was close. It was close enough. I'm too drunk.
So
for this.
would I change anything? In the aggregate, no, I don't think I would change anything. I think everything has worked out the way it needed to be. When I had interpersonal issues, I worked through them, and it took how long it took. In 11,000 days, would I have, masturbated less or something? Sure. Or would I have been, less self-loathing for days? Yes, no doubt. But that's stuff you don't, get... You don't get that data until you're older,
Do you think we do that a lot because we're men or because of society?
Do you think that men masturbate a lot because we're men?
Or because of society?
Because
Because we're allowed to. Because we're told to. What do you think?
society allows us to masturbate?
They sure don't stop us from doing it.
No, they don't. I feel that I've sort of always been compelled, I guess.
Yeah, right? It's a little natural, eh?
Yeah, I don't know. But no, in the aggregate, I would not change anything that I've done or had to do. Perhaps I would have just... I don't know. Perhaps I would have tried to convince myself that my efforts were worthwhile. Because sometimes they didn't always feel worthwhile. But otherwise, yeah.
Sometimes it takes time to see that they were.
Yeah.
It's hard to know.
Mm-hmm.
It really takes perspective.
It does.
100%. I've never felt like a true impactful value on things until at least a year, 2, 3, 4 years beyond, and then you start to see it.
Mm-hmm. It's always in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
And even I had to stop being angry a long time ago. I was because of my growing up scenario. For a long time, I was mad at my parents in the world, in life.
I mean, I get it.
But I had to let go of that. I had to figure that out at an early age. I had to figure that out before I was 20. I had to figure out how to not be angry about that because that would have just continued to be poison. So that was a huge hurdle that not a lot of young people do or face, relinquishing their anger for something like that. So I don't know. I don't think I would change anything. I don't think I would. Honestly. Because in a lot of ways,
you can't.
Because I've had so much freedom in my life, I've gotten to do tremendous amounts of more and different things than the average 30-year-old, I'd say.
Yeah.
So
You're not average 30-year-old.
I'm far from the average 30-year-old. And
Yeah.
sometimes that looks like, I don't know what I'm going to eat this week. And other times it looks like, I can go anywhere I want in the world. Or anywhere I want in the country.
Not beholden to anything.
Yeah, and from an early age, from, a teenage boy. So, bittersweet. Do I wish that I had felt loved and safe more often? Sure. I don't know, though. But I don't know that I would do anything else.
Did you feel that from the people around you besides your family?
The friends? Oh, yeah, most certainly. That's where I got it from. That's where it came from, Wasn't accessible other places, There's, sometimes I would get jealous in my earlier years of, someone's family, a storybook scene, you're looking into the window and they're all cuddling together, opening Christmas presents or something.
Yeah.
There's envy for those sorts of moments.
Yeah.
But, and sometimes those were tough. Those are really tough, those feelings that come with that. With freedom comes you're alone a lot of the time, And so it's scary. It can be scary. But because I'm alive still, those moments get to amount to it makes it sort of worthwhile because a lot of those interpersonal things you have to face and people are going to face no matter what, I was forced to face early and made me kind of put me on a quicker trajectory towards self-actualization because while a career wasn't necessarily at the foremost for me because of the resources I had, all of those deep interpersonal things that people will continue to do until they're in their 30s and 40s and 50s and the rest of their lives, like I got a lot of that out of the way as a young man.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's sort of a blessing.
You like reverse birthed it, bro.
Reverse birth, no doubt.
For real, like
Yeah.
yeah, you kind of got an adult perspective and life experience at a very young age. Very
Yeah.
young age.
Yeah. So I think it set me up well enough anyway. And with the continued efforts of hard work, no doubt,
If it helps.
better work will be available. Yes.
That's mine. I took
Oh,
yours.
oh, that's fine. What were you going to say?
You like
though?
how I finished it?
Wow. No, I'm good. No, I'll take a sip.
If it helps, luckily I was very much aware of those family things that you were talking about.
Yeah. I mean,
So I took that luck, that energy, that random blind luck of having such a solid nuclear family, try to give it to the people in my life, that my friends who like I knew just didn't have it as much.
well, I got it from so many. The thing is, okay, so
I tried my best to.
while you had it from your family and it was immediate and you could count on it, I got it from a lot of people, but it was fewer and far between. Because as soon as people know, like, are aware of your situation or your scenario, especially as a young person, adults will often help you, and like, you know, even if it's as simple as like have dinner with us, like,
Yeah.
you know, like
my mom, I told this before, but you're the only friend I had. If I was listening, my poor parents dealt with
Yeah.
a lot of degenerates and friends at the house, and they were saints, truly saints. They should be the patriot saints of like community or something,
most
to be honest.
definitely, yeah.
But you're the only friend where like, yeah, Charlie can eat here. Like he's the only one who could like. They did not get mad if you went through the pantry or kitchen or the sink or not sink, the refrigerator.
Well, that was a charity case.
Any other friends they'd get so mad at. And the more privileged, air quotes, a friend was, the more mad they'd get. So you're the only one that'd be like, you know, they made chili, like, oh, Charlie can have some. Like he's the
Yeah.
only one.
And lots of people would do that for me once they knew like what I was going with. Like, you know, Jim moved me into his home, and like our other friends' parents, Vinny's parents, and
Vinny's
Lena's
parents, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know, open arms all the time. So
All the time,
I got
yeah.
it from lots of places, like love. And while you know, it was rare, it wasn't as frequent, but it was enough to, you know, make me not totally suicidal all the time. You know, but I feel like whatever. Like, it wasn't so bad, truthfully. There's been moments and times where it was bad, but when you think about the Congo, and you think about my life, like the only two things that like still through all of my experience in life that like can like bring me to tears or bring me joy or fill me up are like stories of bravery and stories of gratitude. Like those are the two things that I admire most and I respect most in people when I observe them. And that's like something you don't hear other people say that or feel that. Maybe they feel it, but they don't articulate it ever. So I'm grateful for everything that has happened in my life that has has put me in this position to be able to prosper and have a shot at pursuing happiness. And I have gratitude because if the community around me and my friends didn't like scoop me up, then who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
kind of crazy.
Yeah. Who knows? So I have
So
gratitude, and it takes, and once you're aware of that, like you have to make something with it. You have to do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're just a jackass, you know? And sure, it's permissible, and you can understand it why, and you can look at like if you looked at like a synopsis of someone's life and you're a psychologist, you're like, oh, okay, social economically, they were screwed in this way and they didn't have love and sport, like whatever. Of course, you can make sense that they're a degenerate doing whatever the fuck they're doing these days. But it doesn't make it get like, it doesn't feel good to read that or know that.
No.
It's a side effect of society, but that could have easily been my life if for whatever reason I wasn't born where I was born and met the friends that I made. And yeah, because there was like opportunities for me before befriending everyone here to like move away, to go somewhere else. Could have gone
Really?
to,
Where?
I could have gone to Florida with my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
I could have gone, I could have followed my mother and gone and lived with her and my two brothers. But I was 14 and I said, no, I'm not doing that. Like, whatever that is not for me any longer. And
Yeah.
like, that's sort of had to draw a line in the sand at a young, as a 14-year-old, basically, 15-year-old. Yeah.
It's a big thing to have to make a decision at 14, 15.
It felt like, it just felt right. And like, so I've been uncompromising since then.
Yeah.
You know?
And you've lived under such crazy conditions.
Yeah, and I've lived everywhere. And
I'll never forget your first sleeping condition I ever saw.
yeah, that was
That's when I was like, you need help. I gotta help you. Like, when I helped you clean out your room,
Well, that wasn't my room, but it was a room I inherited. Yeah.
it was where you were living, on the ground, sleeping on the you're sleeping on a pile of clothes
It was,
that weren't yours.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. There, I had the floor. That was not on the clothes.
You
but
slept on
it
the
was not
ground.
a. It was not a conducive.
It was not good.
It was not a good environment at all. And like, I quickly removed myself from that environment as well.
Yeah.
So like, making decisions like that were at the foremost, and that's why you drop out of high school, because when you're making decisions like that, an algebra test is not important.
No,
You know,
no, it's not.
it's
Doesn't
not
mean
important at
anything.
all. So
Doesn't even. Yeah,
it made
doesn't
sense.
register.
And lots of, I feel like everyone, all of the teachers at school had to have known too, because
They're not stupid. I mean, they have a lot of students. They can start to get. I have a lot of students at a college level, and I can tell because of my experience, just life.
Mm-hmm.
You start to know like who needs help more than others. You start to cater towards like this person clearly is a good student. Just life's just not good with them.
yeah.
They need help.
I mean, and I didn't like act out. I wasn't like violent or anything. Like, students or people who go through what I went through, it would be permissible for them to be upset and perhaps even act out as violent at that age, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
They didn't have any guidance.
you have
You
no
had
guidance.
some guidance. You had some legit guidance.
Yeah. But like,
But they were just teenagers.
yeah, they were just other teenagers who's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
But, like-
in some way you're lucky that we were mature enough to be a little bit of an adult figure.
Yeah, certainly.
Just enough. Just
Yeah,
enough.
But I mean, like I said, I had help. Like, teachers at school, I never explicitly told anyone out loud what I was living through.
Yeah.
But they knew something was wrong, and they would, if I wasn't doing schoolwork, they were fine with it the same way your parents were, that I was going through their pantry or something. Like, okay, he's learning something else right now. That's fine. He's alive and breathing, and he's smiling intermittently. So
He
he's
made it
good.
another day.
Yeah. I don't know. So it makes sense. It wasn't easy.
What you spoke about depression. Was that something that has it always been there? Is it like the fundamental underlining of like your life?
I think as a young boy,
Were you born with it?
I don't know that I was born
Or was
with
it manifested through life experiences?
I think it was manifested through stress at a young age. So like, those sorts of stressful things were happening when I was a child as well. You know,
Just like arguing,
arguing, fighting, drugs, drinking,
family, drugs.
You know, like
Hard drugs?
cocaine, other things probably.
Hard. Yeah.
You know,
It's not normal kid stuff.
no, certainly not. And I feel like from when I was a young boy, there's this stress and sadness that I had. 6, 7, 8 years old is probably when I first remember it. So,
Have you ever talked to your parents about this stuff?
it seems futile to do it. A couple of times I've like exploded and like yelled at them, but it seems futile.
Sorry. I instantly just thought of your high school graduation party.
Yeah.
That was sorry.
No, yeah.
This is so funny.
I mean,
we all had to lie.
I didn't know what the fuck was going on myself.
Can we
Like,
talk about this?
Sure,
It's
tell
been
us.
long enough, right?
tell a story.
It's been
Yeah.
12 years.
Yeah, I didn't know what the hell was happening myself. Like,
So
I forgot
earlier
about
in the
that.
podcast, like 3 hours ago.
It's been 3 hours.
Charlie and I were talking about how he dropped out of high school and got his GED. Charlie's family didn't know about this. And I don't mean like parents. I mean like more distant family.
The extended family.
Grandma and cousins who
Sure.
weren't as involved in the problems that were going on, right?
Oh, well, yeah, okay. And it's starting to come back to me, the details. But go on.
So they threw you a high school graduation party in like May or June of 2011. Probably June. We went.
We went. I brought
You
my
got
friend.
money.
Yeah, not a lot, though. Unimpressive amount of money for graduating.
How much? Like 300?
Maybe $300, yeah.
We'll call it 300.
Sure.
You got some money. Your friends go, we got some free food, and your whole family thinks you graduated from high school. But you
And then we
didn't.
just, well, I went there. I had to
It was
first.
so funny. It was so hard not to say.
The reason they did it is because I have a cousin who's like the same grade as me. So they're like, oh, Charlie must be finishing soon too. Well, the whole thing about that is to have told them that I didn't graduate high school would have been the thread in this. Well, what do you mean you didn't graduate high school? Well, how come? Well, where have you been staying? Well, what have you been doing? So like,
But
So-
like, do you think something good would have came out of that? Would family would have helped? Do you think? Do you know? I mean, you only know your family. Like, I don't know them, so like,
if everyone around me knew that there was something happening, if school knew something was happening, if my friends can tell, my friends' parents could tell something was wrong, there's no way they didn't know something was happening. And the fact that no one ever said anything or did anything made me
Yeah.
feel like they didn't care. So I gathered my friends.
not my, fault, not my problem, not my, situation.
Something, whatever it is. I know that if my siblings had children, I would know what's going on in those children's
Right. If
lives.
my brother's child, in 17 years from now, I would hope that I would know if something wasn't good. I would step
Yes.
in. Yeah.
Right.
For
So
sure.
the whole thing feels strange to me,
Yeah.
if in that sense.
I see what you're saying.
So it was funny for me to be like, hey, check it out. My family's throwing me a graduation party. Let's go eat some food and get some money. I was 18. I had just dropped out of high school. So, and I think who went? Maybe you, me, Eddie, Larry.
Dill, Larry, Brian, Eddie. It was so funny though, because
We did. Yeah.
we all knew we just like didn't say anything. We just went for the food,
Ate some fried chicken.
some chicken, some beef
lasagna.
sandwiches, a lasagna, some soda, and just got out. It was just the worst is when like people came up to you and said stuff and like gave you a card, and we had to sit there and not say it. As an adult now at my age,
Yeah.
it'd be easy. But like at 18, we're so giddy and stupid.
Imagine
you
how
know?
I felt.
We were just like,
Yeah.
like laughing.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
I mean, imagine how I felt. It was terrible.
But it also, but you at the time you seemed like you were just having fun with it. But that was just you putting on a show.
That was just a front. That was my whole
Yeah.
life. I had to
You
put on a front.
for a long time. Huh?
I had to play it cool. Play it
When did the
nonchalant.
front just fade into reality? Because you were a front man for a while.
Well, I feel like it sort of has become my personality because I pretended to be so careless for so long. I'm pretty nonchalant,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's affected me so much. But like, it's hard. I don't get like scared or aggravated or
Yeah.
upset at anything. You
I
know,
know. Isn't that messed up?
a little bit.
I for different reasons,
Yeah.
my own pressures that you're fully aware of that we don't talk about. I have the same problem, and it worries me sometimes because I'm like impervious to like stress-inducing things,
hmm
and I don't take that with pride. I
It's-
mean it with like, what did I do to myself?
I mean, it's post-traumatic stress disorder.
back to the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm one tough cookie, and it scares me. I mean, I've always been a tough person. Like,
Yeah.
really tough, very resilient, but like I wouldn't have been able to do what I've been doing if I wasn't. So clearly, it's kind of part of my DNA, my nature. My dad's a very tough person. My mom is too. My grandparents were. My whole family is. I grew up quite tough, but then I added a lot of chaos to it, and now I'm like it takes extreme stuff for me to go like, oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like scary extreme stuff because I set the stakes so high, the bar is so high, the suffering's so high. So yeah, I don't know what it is, but what it's made me for when I see innocence, like yesterday I was hanging out with my niece, when I see true innocence like that, it makes me so happy because I'm like, it brings me back to like a human baseline. Like, oh,
It
that's
does.
so nice.
Yeah.
Like it makes me go like, oh, kids would be nice because like, not to get like vicariously live through them, but it's like, oh, like human life is very fragile, and I did some extreme stuff that set my standard for stress very high,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a good thing because of what I want to do with my career. I kind of need that, otherwise I'd be quivering at my kneecaps. I would cave under the pressure. I would.
Yeah. No, it's
It's no joke. It's quite
prepared you,
serious.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So-
it's something. I don't know that it's ideal or optimal, but it is true. Yeah. Are you able to turn it on though? Because I can kind of turn it on as I've gotten older. I've figured out how to like put myself in the headspace where I'm like, this is amazing at this moment. Like,
Yeah,
take a second
for
here
sure.
and like,
For sure. I could
Yeah.
turn off. I think I've turned myself at this point, turn everything on and off. I mean, I could watch a movie and cry.
yeah,
I was getting very emotional earlier when we were talking about some stuff. Could listen to songs and cry. I could talk to a family member or a partner and get emotional. And then I can get very stoic and bold. And, you know, in Mexico City, there's times where it was very emotional seeing what I saw, being when I was around. Being in a studio with bands I don't know from a different culture, country, working with me and making art and collaborating was remarkable, like speechless.
mm-hmm.
And then seeing the tragedy there was awful. But then seeing family, I got very emotional talking to my great aunt about my grandpa,
Yeah,
eating the food he ate, staying in his room. Yeah, no, I think you get trained, you get educated and trained, and you learn how to turn things on, turn things off, be a clear-cut difference between them. I think it's just maturity. I think it's just life experience, knowing the tragedies,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. I mean, most adults are probably hard to rock, hard to shake.
Yeah, it's like when I was a kid and my parents were like, oh, like so-and-so's going to watch you, we're going to a wake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so many wakes. People die.
Mm-hmm.
So many weddings. People live. People
Yeah.
survive. Like, and they're just kind of like whatever about it. While my dad just got off like a 12-hour shift at a warehouse at Ryerson Steel. Like, my mom just took care of like dying people and mentally challenged people. Like, and they're just like whatever about it. It's like, yeah, you get hardened as an adult. You don't realize it when you're 12 or 10, but when people are 40, they are. That's why you need adversity. You need to work. You need to get the experience. A man child, a baby adult, a woman who never grew up. It's a very sad place.
It's sad. It's not cute.
Very sad. It's not cute. It's not pretty.
Right.
It's really messed up to say, but you have to suffer
You have to suffer
a lot.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're usually an adult I don't really want to be around. Man or woman, old or young, if you're not well-versed and suffered and tragic and like just happy to have what you have regardless of your background, education, and field of life, it's like I don't really feel comfortable on people like that.
No.
They don't appeal to me, you know?
No, certainly not. It's hard to be around them.
Mm-hmm. Rich, poor, old, young, educated or not, it doesn't really matter. I don't discriminate. If you're not down, if you can't hang, like our old saying we used to say,
Can't hang.
full circle. If you can't hang, you can't hang.
Right. They're out.
If you can't hang, and like, what does it mean to you? Hang?
Hang. It's sort of ubiquitously means like, can you hang? It means a lot of things. It means many different things because hanging is it depends on the situation. It depends
Something
on what's
about
required.
it. You know when you know.
Yeah.
Like, can they hang?
Is there something tough ahead? Is there something
Right.
like uncomfortable or painful or expensive or maybe not necessarily like smart? Can you hang?
Jesus, Charlie.
Yeah.
I think I drank a lot of your bourbon.
I think you drank. Yeah, I had one of them. Maybe a whole one.
Rest.
All right, I will.
What time is it? How long have we been doing this for?
You want to land this plane?
We landed? I think we're way over 3 hours.
I don't know
Let's
that
land
I
it.
have,
We'll do this again sometime. This
don't-
will never end, this conversation.
Yeah, I don't know that I
It's hard to talk about everything without like
just also
naming
talking.
names, outing situations, going too outward. We're not rich enough for that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna get.
Like, we're open enough for it. We're not rich enough for it.
I don't have a good enough lawyer to.
We need FU money first before we can just say what really has gone down.
There's some stories that I will tell the world about my childhood and life, but
You need to have a job you're not beholden to.
I don't give a shit about that.
You should.
No, I don't.
Let's let it go.
Yeah, just
Before we go, let everyone know where they can find the stuff you do. Like, be very specific. The
best places to
Instagram,
find
YouTube,
stuff I'm
Facebook.
making now is on YouTube, Charles_Henry_, and on Instagram you can find me where I post most of my work as well as Charles._Henry.
Well, custom.
Oh, custom crafted design as well. You'll get the custom graphic design through both of those entities. Custom crafted design also is the Umbrella Studio. So.
Which one do you go towards more with when you promote stuff? Is it Charles or is it custom? I always wonder.
It's me.
'Cause
I always do
Well,
Charles.
which one is it?
So, like, if you hire me to do something, I'm going to make the work. But when you cut me a check, it's going to be cut out to custom graphic design. Like, that's my.
It's a little confusing for me.
It's my LLC.
It's confusing.
It's my.
for me.
It's where everything.
I never
gets
know what to
umbrella.
tag you as.
Well, like my fine artwork doesn't make sense to put under my design branding name. So, like, I make it through.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, the commercial portion of what I'm doing is under custom crafted design.
Custom crafted design, and then Charles Lunsford.
Charles Henry.
Charles Henry Lunsford.
Yeah, I don't use my last name.
Charles Henry. Okay. Is it for students' reason?
No reason in particular. I don't really like it, but it's funny to be called Mr. Lunsford. So it serves a new purpose.
Okay, so Charles Henry and custom crafted design.
Yes.
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
I tweet. I tweet now.
TikTok.
I don't TikTok.
You don't talk.
But all I tweet is
You don't TikTok.
no. All I tweet is stupid things. So don't bother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Charlie, I wish I could say it was a pleasure. No,
I wish I could say
it was a pleasure. I have, of many of my friends, you're of the top couple that I've talked to in depth about we've seen it all
The
with
world
each
at
other.
large. Yeah.
It's like we have.
I'm grateful for your friendship and your mentorship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm grateful for your friendship, and I guess I could say mentorship. I am older, but like there's something there. I I learn from you, and I take heed in your advice.
Sure.
I do.
I think you've channeled me before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've been a part of each other's lives, interwoven in a way where it's like, I don't even know what to say. It's like you're a brother. So
Right.
you're just another brother from a truly different mother.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Truly, you did a remarkable thing. You went from a very rough, difficult, like very few people in America can comprehend the situation you came from. And you went many, many years and figured it out. And you got 2 bachelor's degrees and you got a career in it. You starting a job in 2 weeks, 1 week.
I've already begun.
You're like literally in this transition phase.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. It's unheard of. It's like very rare.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to affect and to change a lot of lives and inspire a lot of kids. So thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate your diligence and perseverance. I respect it as a person who has a mad diligence and perseverance. You inspire me in that way. I get inspiration from you. So although I'm older and might be more of a traditional mentor towards you, you inspire me in a way that mentors still need. So thank you.
Cool. Very good. That makes me happy.
Let's smile.
Smile. Awesome.
All right. Thanks, Chuck. Love you.
Love you too.
I'll see you soon.
Probably gonna hang
real
out
soon.
for another hour.
We'll hang out soon. All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. All right. Let's pause for a minute.